Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Eric, Nathaniel, and Dennis. What's going on, guys?
How's it going? How's it
It
going?
is going
I'm happy. I got this
good.
got a new Bendy and the Ink Machine T-shirt, so I'm like really happy about it. 'cause
Oh,
I
that's
love
cool.
Bendy.
Where'd you get that at?
It's don't tell anybody, even though this is a podcast and everybody's listening to it. But don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
It's actually I got it in the kids section, but it's an extra large, so it's practically an adult medium. So it's so but it fits. You know, it fits. I saw it.
Hey, that's great.
Man, I did
could've
not realize in the first 5 seconds we would have the title of the show. It's an adult medium. Write that down. Yeah.
All right, we have goals for future shows.
Yeah.
Show title within first 30 seconds. That's our goal.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
Look, those are just how the conversions work. $1, $1 US does not equate,
Yeah.
to 100
Yeah.
Japanese yen. It's close. It's like 98 cents, but it's not quite there.
Man, I haven't wore an adult medium since I was probably 6 years old. So
I think I have a couple medium shirts. They're a tight fit, but man, dang, that's a good find. That's a good eye.
that's a sharp shirt. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
it.
I like the color. I like the print on it. Yeah, it's really cool.
On one side it says like me when I wake up, and then it's like reality. It's like reality versus expectation, basically. So
Yeah,
it's just him all spruced up,
Yeah,
and then
I like that. I like that.
So,
Yeah, that's pretty
but
sweet.
I thought it was
Pretty sweet.
cute. I was like, yeah, why not? I like Bendy, so why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you find a shirt like that and it fits, you buy it. You just buy it. You don't think about it. You just buy it.
Now I'm gonna feel weird saying like, oh yeah, I'm having this extra large, shirt and like a whole thing of like mediums. Then I have to explain like, yeah, it's actually a kid's shirt. It's not actually an adult shirt at all. It's
Someone's gonna see it. Hey, where'd you get that? You're like,
I got it at the kids section in Walmart. Shut up.
Target.
Order with all the size 2 shoes.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? More power to you. Enjoy it while you can, because
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's always sometimes kids' clothes are a little bit cheaper and get more power to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For $8, I was like, absolutely, I'll take it for $8. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, $8. Daggone, I would have bought it even if it wouldn't have fit and just stuck it in the closet. I have tons of T-shirts from. I have kept all my T-shirts from when I was a kid, so I've got T-shirts from high school and junior high all the way up, and I never throw a T-shirt away. I always, if it wears out or as long as it doesn't have a bunch of holes on this section of it, and this looks good, I keep it and throw it in the tote, because eventually someday I'm going to have a quilt made of them. People around here will cut these out and make a quilt.
Yeah,
That's what
I've got a
that's
quilt
what-
blanket like that my mom did. A bunch of T-shirts from like high school. And
Yeah. So
Yeah, my wife did that.
Really
with
good blanket.
shirts from like inner sorority and college shirt stuff.
Yeah.
Made some pillows out of them. It's really cool.
Yeah, so it's like I got tons of old shirts from high school, and I got back when I did the Xbox Live beta thing, they sent a T-shirt, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're doing the Xbox Live beta, we'll send you a T-shirt. Yeah, they send like a child's medium. It's like really okay. It's
Right. It's like
yeah.
It's like going to PAX.
Yeah, and it's
Besides you
literally
wear.
never been worn, and it's just sitting in the tote. It's been there for what, 20 years now.
I think as much as Microsoft gets right, I think like apparel is just not their forte, because I ordered a Shadow of the Tomb Raider shirt. Like this must have been like maybe a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half ago, because they were clearing them out. So I got it for like $5, and I swear to God, I still have the receipt somewhere. And I promise you, I got a medium. Now, I've never had a problem with mediums before. Now, usually, sometimes I wear a large, but for the most part, it's a medium. And what I got was a medium, but I promise you, on me, this thing was practically a blanket. And I was like, this is not a medium at all. Like, I don't know, like a medium to who? To who? Like, maybe, like, this is like Andre the Giant, maybe, but like, this was, it's ridiculous. So I had to send it back.
You've been
You have your
saying
Actually,
human
not-
kids, you have your human adult, and now you're into giant kids, and then eventually giant adults. So
Yeah.
it's like the sizing tiers.
It's like that movie BFG. You know, like I just come on.
Yeah, well, is it they keep my boss keeps asking me, has so and so sent you your work shirts yet? Have you sent you your work shirts yet? Have you sent your work shirts? No, I haven't got them yet. I haven't got them yet. So now my standard answer after 3 weeks of asking me that is no. The tent and awning place is still making them. They'll get them to me as soon as they get done with it. I don't know. I mean, what else you want me to say here? I don't. T-shirts, they're amazing. It's like that with pants. You buy like 2
Pants
pairs of
special.
pants and like 2. They're all a slight different size, even though they say they're the same size and length. I don't know.
That's my thing with like apparel, and that's why like apparel is one of the few things that I really don't like getting it online usually.
Yeah,
Just because like you never know what it's a gamble every time. I mean, they're like sometimes you can take a good bet if you order from one place enough, then you kind of know what to expect. But like if you're just one of those people who buy kind of apparel casually, from time to time, like you're better off going into a store to make sure everything is more or less tailored to what you need, because otherwise it really is going to be a gamble.
I
Like the
absolutely
medium.
hate those.
Shout out the Tomb Raider I got, which ended up being, literally, I mean, for Andre the Giant. So
See, what they did is they made all of the different sizes they normally would, but labeled every one medium, so it's just who knows which one you'll get.
Right, everybody gets a medium. You get a medium. You get a medium. It's like it may be a medium. It may be a 4X.
medium has become the new unisex. That's
Yeah,
what.
there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Sure.
Everyone's a medium, no matter what it is. Everyone's
Yeah.
a medium.
Yeah. You said Andre the Giant. Oh my gosh, I've been watching every week. I've been watching the biography of the different wrestlers. First week was Stone Cold, and this week was or last week was Roddy Piper, and this weekend is Macho Man. I can't wait. It's like sitting there watching my childhood right before my eyes, going, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that.
Where's that at?
It's on
Where
A&E.
you been? What is it, like a Peacock?
No,
Oh,
it's
A&E,
on
okay.
A&E.
'Cause I know
But
Peacock.
you can even download the A&E app if you don't have A&E, and you can watch it for free. So
Okay, cool.
it's
Because I know Peacock, like they're like apparently, like WWE Network is becoming like absorbed. into
Yeah,
Peacock,
they've
basically.
got some kind of deal or something. I don't know. I haven't watched wrestling in like 20 years, but my buddy keeps telling me, "Oh no, they're all over on Peacock," and I don't get. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I love biographies. I love watching documentaries and see these old guys from when I was a kid. Stone Cold, I was a young adult, but
Yeah.
But Roddy Piper was
topic of
78, 82. It's like
on the topic of that sort of thing, it's kind of like it. But has anybody watched? It's on Netflix. Has anybody watched the last Blockbuster yet? Speaking of like nostalgic things.
That's actually it's not too far away from me.
Yeah, I thought it was close. I figured it was
Yeah,
close to you.
4 hours from me. I actually almost went there. I've been to that town a couple times, and I almost went to that Blockbuster maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I should probably go soon.
Yeah, real soon if you want to say.
It's about, like literally, Blockbuster is about that store, but also kind of the history of Blockbuster.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened.
I'll have to
and
check
then,
it
like,
out.
Yeah, it's on my
It's
list.
crazy. And they apparently like it's like they make a lot of business because a lot of people still go there for nostalgic purposes, obviously,
Mhm.
because it's the last Blockbuster. But also, like people literally still rent movies there. It's crazy. So
Well, up in Pennsylvania, it was Family Video. They still
Yeah,
had.
those all.
They
closed down.
finally just all closed down, but they still had them up there. When I was up there last year doing what I'm doing now, literally they still had a bunch of them open. But not only did they have videos, they were selling like CBD oil, and it was like everything. It's like your one-stop shop. You can get in your cigarettes and your pop and your CBD, and then rent them.
I'll get my smokes, popcorn, and a DVD.
Yeah, it's like
And change the tires on your car.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Make sure you watch it this time.
we have an oil change special this week as well, if you'd like that. But
if you want the vaccine shots, go get them here too.
yeah, really. It was like the other day they had the blue and gold game up in Morgantown, the scrimmage game. They were giving vaccines up there. I'm like, well, they're just giving vaccines anywhere. You go to the football game, get a vaccine. Okay, sounds great. Yeah, it's like, what do I know?
It's a But for anyone, which I'm sure we all have, but for anyone who grew up in that era of Blockbuster or just really just video rental stores in general,
Mm.
it is a great sort of like history lesson of just kind of where it was, how it got to where it be at its peak, and then just the kind of downfall of it. And then but it's pretty recent too. I mean, it documents pretty much up until I mean, it even documented all the COVID stuff once that started happening and stuff like that, and how that affected the last Blockbuster, and they were worried and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's worth a watch. Go check it out. It's really good.
Yeah, it's on my list when I saw it was coming out, and it's like, yep, I got to watch that. People, yeah, I have a big list of stuff. So when you're in a hotel room, you have time to watch things. So when you can connect to the Wi-Fi, but actually, I don't have to worry about that. But we'll get into that with the PlayStation. I have stories to tell. So
oh boy,
yeah. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started with that, and I'll go ahead with my rant about the PlayStation 5. So I finally got my PlayStation 5 in after on order for, golly, it was over a month. It finally came in. Yeah.
Congrats, by the way.
Yeah, It's I like it. I still like my Xbox better. There's just some quality of life things that I like better on the Series X than the PS5. I mean, so far, everybody's like, oh, it makes the fan's real loud. No, my fan's not loud. I haven't heard the fan. It runs super cool. It's just there's a lot of buggy things things I don't like with it. Like, so I had all my games on my hard drive, and I went to plug it off the PS4, just plug the external into the PS5. And, with Xbox, you do that, and it just takes right off. It's like, okay, well, you got these games, we'll sync to the cloud, we'll download your games and go. Well, I plug it into the PlayStation 4, and then all of a sudden, like 40, there's 80 games on that hard drive. Like 40 of them all of a sudden had an update. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Why is there an update? They were all updated before I pulled them over. I thought, well, maybe it's just a weird PS5 update, So, but it wasn't. It was like literally like the updates didn't take. And then the updates downloaded to the internal hard drive. They didn't download to the external. So I had a little bit on the internal, a bunch on the external. And it was like, then it would get like 95% done and go, okay, this is a disc-based game. You need to enter your disc before we'll finish fully installing it. So I had a list of like 15 games in my download thing that was waiting on me to pull my disc out. So I had to go over to the wall, go through every game that it asked to pull off the shelf, then go over and then just physically pop the disc in. It'd start to boot up, back out, pull it out. Start to pull back, pause. It's like, why?
It makes sense for when you're launching a game because it has to, make sure you have the disc or whatever.
Right.
But just to download the, update or whatever it's doing, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, just to finish fully install an update. I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? That doesn't make sense. So what
you can install it, you still can't launch it if you ain't got the disc.
Right.
So, come on.
Yeah. So, and it got to the point where the download list was so full that I had to go through and purge those out so it would download more. And then I got to looking, and the internal drive immediately had, I don't know, 50 gigs of other. It was like other space. It's like, well, that's why? Because all those things are on my external. Why do I have to have that on the internal too? It's like,
it's something weird to do with PS4 games, whether they're on your, actual drive or on an external. There's always that other that seems to balloon whenever you're installing old games.
I mean, it's crazy. So what I eventually ended up doing was I thought, okay, so I bought a new hard drive. I bought the same hard drive, external hard drive that I use on the Series X, the Western Digital P10 military looking thing.
It's a great hard drive.
Yeah, it's an awesome hard drive. It works really good with my Series X. I mean, the load times on it are fantastic. So it's like, okay, I'll get one of those. So, like I did with the Series X, I hooked both hard drives up and went, I need to move all these games from this hard drive to this hard drive, and just did it through the Series X. Series X, okay, no problem. Hooked my old hard drive up to the PS4, hooked the new hard drive up to the PS4, and it's like, wait. You can only have one hard drive hooked up at a time. I'm like, why? Oh, you can only have one hard
Because
drive.
they just added this, so they haven't thought through all of the wrinkles yet,
Yeah.
I guess. Because it
Well,
hasn't
you
even
can't
been there
even-
that long since that last update. Is
No,
when you
it
can
was
hook
the
up the hard drives, right?
the day that I got my PlayStation in was when that update came out. So I was
Okay,
like,
yeah.
perfect. This works
Yeah.
out great, you know. But even on the I went back to the PlayStation 4 Pro and thought, well, I'll just do it that way. You can't do it on the Pro either. You cannot connect 2 hard drives at one time to the Pro. You have to have one, and
Only
that's
one.
it. Yeah.
So how does that work then?
You have to manually move stuff from one hard drive to the internal, then unplug the hard drive, plug in the other one, then copy it back to the other
I'm making
one.
a face right now
Yeah.
because
I wonder
as
if you have.
as someone who did that recently,
Yeah.
I transferred like 20 gigs worth of stuff off of my external to my internal on my Pro. It was a pain in the butt, and it
Well,
was super slow.
John has 2.3 gigs or terabytes of games. That's 80 plus games on that hard
Love
drive. And I finally just went, the hard drive size is so small on the PS4. I downloaded 3 games to it, which took 2.5 hours to copy
Dang.
over to the PlayStation 5. Which is, I don't understand why. It should have been faster than that. They're 3.0
good.
cables. It's
Yeah,
everything.
3.0.
And the newer hard drive that I got is even faster. So I plugged it in, then went to copy the games back from the internal to there, and it was going to take another 2.5 hours. It was like, what is going on? So, of course, I'm playing the Xbox. I just set it off to the side. Me and Nikki watch a couple shows. And I make the mistake of turning the TV off by accident with the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 on. So what happens when I turn the TV off with the PlayStation 5 connected to it? It shuts the system down.
Oh, I turned that shit off.
I was like,
time I booted it up.
So here I was in the middle of transferring all that stuff after about an hour and a half, and I turned the TV off and it shut the thing down. I didn't even realize it was on. I'm like, no. So finally I just went, you know what? Forget it. When I'm ready to play a game, the day before, I'll just pop the disc in there and install it.
I wonder if you could hook those drives up to a PC and use a cloning utility to clone a drive.
It's encrypted. Well, maybe, I don't know, but it was encrypted. When you plug it in there, it doesn't even recognize the drive. It's like, I don't know what this is. You know, it's like,
if you're a very technically inclined person, there's probably a way to do it, but yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Whatever it would be, even if it is
Crazy.
possible, it might not be.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be a way. It's probably got some proprietary format, because when I think of the first thing I think of is the 3DS. Because if you've ever tried transferring stuff from like a 3DS from a memory card that you use with your 3DS into your PC, and then to, let's just say, transfer to a new thing, because that's how you had to do it if you had multiple 3DSs, it was a pain. But in order to do it, you had to literally get some sort of format converter for your memory cards, because the 3DS would only read like a FAT32 or something, but it was encrypted with some really weird thing where it would change it to like a fat, it was NFAT like 30, something super weird that's only used on the 3DS. So if you wanted the PC to read it, now your data was okay, but if you wanted the PC to read it so you can get the files to click and drag, you had to do the FAT32 thing, and then it was just a bunch of nonsense. It was a pain.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean,
I can relate. Like, it was pretty. I don't think it was as slow, like transferring stuff from 3DS to like my 2DS. I didn't have that much stuff, but it wasn't exactly zippy. Versus, I hooked up my new Series S, transferred everything from my Xbox One X. I was like, 45 minutes. That's it. All right, I'm good.
Yeah. So I did all that. Let's see, what else was there? There was so much stuff I had to go into the settings and turn off. The PlayStation 4, by default, with the microphone built into the controller, will record your voice and send that data to Sony unless you go in and you turn it off. It's like, why do I have to go in and turn a thing off to say, no, don't share my voice data with Sony? It's like, Why is it recording
that's
to
why
begin with?
I hate when they set it up. It needs to be opt-in, not opt-out.
Right. Yeah. You know, if I want them to, then that's fine. But, you know, it's like, oh my gosh. So,
The problem with that, though, is if they set it to opt-in, no one will opt in.
Right.
So that's why they do that. They just hope people don't notice.
yeah. And a normal person would just hook it up and just go and not even think anything about it. But it's like, okay, don't share my information. Don't share my voice. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like everything under the sun. Where if
I went in, another setting that I changed right away was don't automatically save like screenshots and movies and everything for every single trophy. It's like, nope, turn that off. I don't want you taking up what little space I have with just videos.
Yeah, I went in and shut all that off too. It was like,
Yeah.
nope, I don't want to clip record when I get a trophy. Don't record a 15-minute movie when I record, get a trophy. Don't, nothing. I don't need it. It's
I
fine.
did not think about shutting out that.
Yeah. Well, apparently
that.
my TV remote will act as a media remote for the PlayStation 4 because there was times when I was adjusting things, I would move the dial on the TV to move something, and it was moving the cursor on the PlayStation. So, and I didn't even do anything. It was just like, well, that's weird. So, well, it's like I bought a new headset. I bought the Lucid Sound. I think it's the LX15P or something like that because it was wireless. I thought, well, let me turn it on before I turn my PlayStation on. I turned my headset on. It turned the PlayStation on. It's like,
Turn the PlayStation on and off.
yeah, I didn't try to turn the headset off and see if the PlayStation would kick off. I didn't try that, but I was like, as soon as I was like, well, let me go ahead and turn it on so it can all be ready. And then I was like, oh my gosh, the PlayStation turned on as soon as I turned that headset on. I don't like that. It's like, no.
Like everything shares the same frequency channel, so PlayStation's just like, if something turned on, I guess that's us.
I get the TV because that's the like HDMI pass-through, whatever that feature's called. Then you can toggle that on or off for different devices. But yeah, for like a headset, that's very weird.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now I've got to go see if there's like a firmware update for this headset that disables that feature, or I don't know what that's all about. So,
or is it an actual feature that's weird that no one wants somehow, and you see how you can turn it off?
So,
yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad that I don't have like hard drives full of games because my PS5's been fine, but I've only been doing stuff like directly on it. I've popped in a couple of PS4 discs,
right,
and that's about it. Otherwise, I've been playing PS5 things on it.
And I and they still do that thing where they had all the PS Plus collection on PS5. I went ahead and added all those things to my account because I didn't know if they would change that down the road, So it was like, I've got God of War installed on that external hard drive. Well, I don't have the disc, but, I've got the digital copy on there. Let me just play it like that. Really? I still can't.
I had that too. So if you pop in the disc, I just wasn't thinking it was also in there, and I installed the disc version and played it, and I was like, oh wait, it's in there. Let me try. I add that to my account, and can I play it without the disc? No, you'd have to install it.
You have to reinstall
from there first.
Entire game.
So I'm like, it's fine. I've got the disc right here. I'll just leave it.
With a couple of Yakuza games because they were on sale for like dirt cheap a while back. So even though I have them all physically, I was like, why not? I'll buy them digitally as well.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they're like treated as completely different applications. It's digital and or physical, so it's like it's ridiculous.
But it's not like that with Xbox. If I buy it digitally or it comes on Game Pass or whatever, and it's a physical game I have, no problem. It just I don't have to put the disc in there ever again until it goes off Game Pass, and it's like, oh, you got to own the game. No problem. Yeah, it's so weird.
I think that's probably something that's just the back end of Sony's just can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's like a legacy bug or something you'd have in software. It's like passed forward from older versions of PSN. They've just never gotten it to where it would recognize that stuff.
I'm pretty sure it was even like that on PlayStation 3, if I remember right. So,
probably makes sense.
It's been a while, but
from experience.
Yeah. So the two major issues I have with it is here recently, this week and yesterday or today, if I turn my PlayStation on with the controller doesn't work. I cannot cycle through the menus. I cannot do anything like that. Now, if I hit the PlayStation button and bring up the sub menu, I can move around that all I want. I can play the game on the tab. It'll work in the game just fine. But if I exit back out to the main dashboard, I'm stuck. None of the buttons work. None of the D-pad doesn't work. The stick doesn't work. Nothing. I'm literally frozen on the whatever screen I'm on, the Explorer
Never had
tab
that.
or whatever.
Have you updated the firmware on your controllers?
Yep.
Sounds like a controller bug, if anything.
Yeah.
It's been good about it because that's like they like as soon as it like updates it or whatever. For me, whenever it's like, hey, there's a firmware update, plug it in if you want to update it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. It did
Done
that.
that like twice, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And it worked fine until this last update came out, this stability update that they put out the other day, and now all of a
The
sudden
menu
it's
is
just-
rock stable, as in you can't move it.
Yeah, apparently. I was like, what is up with that? The other issue I had, and I know we talked about it a little bit in our Twitch or our Twitter group because I was fussing about it. So I took the PlayStation on the road the past 2 weeks with me to kind of get used to it, see what it's like, because I'm not home. So
That was your mistake.
I
The
reckon.
PlayStation is too big to be mobile.
Yeah.
Stay at home.
Well, and I got the real nice case for it, like I got for my Xbox, everything like that. And it's like the first hotel I stayed in, same hotel for a week. It's like, okay, it connected to their Wi-Fi just fine. So it's not like I needed to go online, but if I needed to verify something, because Horizon Zero Dawn came out that week, and I was like, man, I really want to download the digital copy of it. It literally on the hotel Wi-Fi took 17 hours to download, I think. It was one of those things where I just went, I'm going to bed. I got up in the morning. I'm like, okay.
That's like hotel Wi-Fi plus PSN equals sad times.
Yeah, it was. It was just like, so then I went off to work and I came back and it was like, oh, it's at 75%. Well, let me go eat dinner. And then I came back and I'm like, oh, it's done. That's awesome. It only took like 24 hours for it to download. That's great. But, and it worked fine. It worked absolutely fine. So Sunday, I go to another hotel and that I'm staying at for the week, brought my PlayStation with me, went to hook it up with the Wi-Fi, and the minute that it tried to connect to the router, the system shut down. I was like, well, that's weird. So I hit the button to turn it back on, and it would get to the little boot up screen that says warnings, blah, 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 and then try to go to the profile and shut down. And it just was stuck in that loop. And I'm like, that's weird. So I tried to do a rebuild, and it kept saying, connect your controller. So I connect the controller, hit the PlayStation button, the controller would go, beep, boop, just turn on, off, on, off, on, off. So I'm like, great, it's bricked. It's bricked. It's not going to do anything. So then I go to full system restore and erase everything off the hard drive, reset everything back to the factory defaults, and lo and behold, the system works just fine. I'm like, okay, while everything's wiped off of it, let me go back and try to connect to the router again. Connect to the router, shut her down again. It was like, what is going on? If you can't connect to the network, fine. It's no big deal. Just tell me you can't connect to the network. You don't have to have me do a hard reset on the system to tell me that. So, here it was. Luckily, I had a lot of stuff on the external hard drive, but like Astro Boy got uninstalled, Spider-Man Remastered got uninstalled, all those games got uninstalled, so I had to reinstall them when I got home on Thursday because, they were all gone. But it's like, what is going, way to terrify somebody that, oh my gosh, connected to a router has bricked my PlayStation 5.
That would be crazy. What a pain.
I think it's probably just something about that hotel's Wi-Fi has some weird setup that whoever programmed all the Wi-Fi stuff inside the PS5 just couldn't anticipate someone connecting to that, and then it just was freaking out.
That must have been it. It was weird because I understand that some hotel Wi-Fi's have click on this to verify and enter a code. Well, the PlayStation at the first hotel I was in, it wouldn't do that. But when you connect to it, the PlayStation will go, hey, you got to verify this. You can't verify it through the PlayStation. Use your phone to connect to the PlayStation, and then it opens up so what I do was I connect to the PlayStation, open up the browser on my phone, I put the code in, and then that allowed the PlayStation 5 to connect to the router that way, which, I mean, that's fine. But, at least there was an option for it. Nintendo Switch usually doesn't even have an option for it. It's just like, oh, verified? No, you can't do that.
The Switch is like, hi, no. You're like, darn it.
Yeah. But, it's like, what is going on? And it's just little weird things like that. But overall, I mean, I like the PlayStation 5. There's little quirky things with it that I would prefer that they would have fixed, from the PlayStation 4 that they didn't fix. Like I bought a digital copy even though I had a physical copy. Don't let me.
Yeah, that I guarantee has nothing to do with the actual hardware.
No,
it's everything to do with their PSN and their back end and how it treats game titles and such.
Yeah, that's the back end thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else was there? There was a couple other things. I really miss Instant Start. On the Xbox, I literally press the button and boom, it's at the home screen. It's ready to go. 5 seconds, not even 5 seconds, and I'm into a game. The PlayStation, I turn it on. It's got to give me the warning. Then it's got to play the splash screen, and then it's got to.
And you take a nap.
Yeah, and then
It
it
takes
loads
like
me in.
15 seconds to boot up the PS5.
Still.
It's like that's not that long.
Go
Go boot up a previous console. They take longer.
The Xbox is just so much faster. Just to have that instant on. I mean, that instant on. Not.
I guarantee you that instant on will cause issues over time. Just like if you don't reboot a PC.
Maybe but at this point, I'll take it. The other thing that I'll take is quick resume on games. That is awesome. I still love that.
That would be cool.
That's the one thing that when it's fun when I back out of a game, put it into rest mode, and then come back and it's just right there. That does work a lot better than it did on the PlayStation 4. I'll give them that. It's sometimes the PlayStation 4 it would crash, or the suspend feature would crash or something like that. But that works really well. I mean, and Sony kind of has it's not really a quick resume. It's like a shortcut. If you pull up the cards on the game and you go to like an achievement thing, and you could see where you're in an area that you were doing this, trying to get this achievement, it says like resume here or something like that. And you could click it, and then instead of seeing the game menu and the boot up thing, it'll just load right into that area. But not every game has that. And not every game takes advantage of it. And it depends.
And that's still not even what you're necessarily wanting.
It's
anyway.
not really a quick resume, but it's they could do it. I think they could do it real easy like that, especially with these card things. Man, those card things, it's cluttered. I don't care for all those card things when you pull it up. And maybe I just haven't got used to it. The other thing I haven't got used to is actually having just to touch the button once and go over and hit the power. I still constantly hold my thumb down on the PlayStation to pull up the menu, and nothing happens. It just beeps at me and goes on.
Well, what that does is it's a return home button. So if you're in a game, it'll go to the home screen.
Yeah. It's like, daggone it, no, that's not what I want. I want to turn it on. Okay, but
it's almost like a minimize button or something if you hold it down. Yeah.
But my muscle memory of however many years, it's like, oh no, it's like I got to get it in my brain not to do that.
I broke that fairly quick, but I was using it for a while in a row, so it just kind of like stuck eventually.
Yeah, but games like Spider-Man, that's really I've played a little Astros. But Spider-Man, my gosh, that remastered thing, there's no load screens, no load time. I mean, it's just the title menu boots up, you pick your saved game, and boom, you're ready to go. Just like that. But the save game thing with the Spider-Man transfer save thing really aggravated me, because it was like, okay, luckily I had the PS4 version on the external hard drive and the PS5 remastered version on the thing. So there's an option button on the side. It has three little dots. You click it, and if you have two versions of the game installed, you can choose to play the PlayStation 4 version or the PlayStation 5 version. So I booted up the PlayStation 4 version, downloaded the save from the cloud, then uploaded it through the game, then shut it down, then booted up the remastered version and downloaded the game save through the menu button or the menu to the thing. It's like
the only reason that's a thing is because it's a different game.
Yeah,
it's a
different,
remastered version, so they can't, for whatever reason, they didn't keep the save format the same or something. I guess
it's just weird. It's like, okay, well, at least I didn't have to whip out the PlayStation 4 and pop in the disc and and do all that crap. It's like I already have.
Pop your PlayStation 4 disc into an Xbox 360, and then
Make sure you have a Switch Online subscription, because without that,
yeah, exactly. But I mean, overall, I like the PlayStation 5. I'm glad I bought it. There's first-party games that I want to play. I bought Returnal this weekend. I've literally played it to the first boss where I died, and then the screen came up and goes Returnal, and then it's like,
oh, that's not the first boss.
Well, the whatever it was,
that's you went through the tutorial, basically run of like 5-6 rooms, however many it is, and then it's like, hey, go into a room with a strong enemy, so you die, and we can splash the title on the screen, and then you start the real game.
Yeah,
that's kind
so
of what
that was as far as I got last night. I couldn't keep my eyes open any longer, so it was like, okay, I got to go to bed. I'll play later.
Yeah, it's good, but I heard people, like, if there's any game, because I saw a lot of tweets about this, where that's the one game right now that has a lot of people, funny enough, as a PS5 exclusive. That game is actually having people talk about the quick resume feature on Xbox, actually, because that's the game where people apparently, like, there's like 90 minutes, like the game is 90 minutes long, more or less, if, for a clean run, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so you're expected to sit for 90 minutes with no saves or anything like that. But for people who just want to do maybe like something quick or something, and for people,
not everybody has 90 minutes.
Right.
Exactly. And for people who want to pause it and
how that game works, guys.
But it goes into, but the reason why I bring it up though is, like, it's the rest mode feature that apparently has been ruining people's runs though. People want to pause it. They're like, okay, I'll continue this after I unpause it after some dinner, maybe tomorrow, something like that. And then so they put the PlayStation in rest mode, and then they boot it back up, and apparently the rest mode just doesn't work well with that game. It's been causing a lot of crash.
I haven't tried that, so I don't know. Yeah, just like pause it. You can pause that game. So if you're literally going to dinner and coming back, then just don't turn your PlayStation off. Eat dinner and come back.
As long as you don't have as long as you don't have the remote link thing, don't turn off your TV, because it'll turn off your PlayStation as well. So.
But yeah,
that seems like something they could probably fix in the game as a patch. Like that's probably on the game with how resume works in it, that they could probably shore that up.
But I mean, like I said, overall, I like the PlayStation. I still feel happy that I moved from my main to the Xbox, because I like some of those features better. I like the way the system. Believe it or not, I like the system menu better. I like the setup better. It feels more comfortable. It feels more intuitive.
If you're only to play third-party stuff, have a console that you like better to play it on, because the games for third-party are going to be, probably about the same either place, for the most part. And then if you are lucky enough to have the other one, have that as for playing exclusives.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what my PS5 is, just for exclusives, because most of the multi-platform stuff I'm going to play PC, probably, usually, at least the way I've got it set up.
And that's the thing. I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I think I'm not too far in it, maybe 10 hours. It's not.
They haven't put a PS5 update for that game, have they?
No, they haven't. It's still 30 frames a second.
Man, that's sad, because if they had, I would probably go install it just to play it on my big TV. It's faster, because on PC at the higher frame rates, it was really fun. So it'd be fun to see it on like the TV at those frame rates.
Yeah, it would be cool. That's the one thing that I'm kind of disappointed. It's not got a 60 frame per second boost, but overall it runs better, so much better on the PlayStation 5 than on the PlayStation 4. Just for what little bit I played of it on the PlayStation 4, just like the opening crawl, there was little skips and stutters and graphical things on the Pro. But then I played it on the 5, and it's like smooth. It goes, it goes away. The load times are really nice, even on the external hard drive. Man, they need to unlock that internal thing and let me get a internal drive for the PlayStation 5. They need to do that soon, because It's just
It really makes me wonder if it's something similar to why like they just did the update for doing external drives. If there's some just sort of like software thing or something in there that's not working right, that's making it
yeah.
unstable, so they don't want to unlock it for people.
Well, the
Who knows?
one of the things that I heard was it was a cooling issue that it gets with
I
the.
could see that.
So it's like they're trying
M.2 is
to.
getting very hot.
Yeah, so they're trying to figure out exactly how to be able to adjust the fan, through the software to keep things cool. I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, there's a lot of heat that comes out the back of the PlayStation 5, but overall it's warm. I mean, it's not warm. It's not like
Oh, the PlayStation gets very warm if you're
yeah.
playing something for
Yeah.
a while, like, but it's putting stuff out all directions.
Yeah, so
Basically. It's like,
I
it's
mean,
not-
I touch the actual system, and if I touch it on the back, it's like, ooh, that's warm, but
Yeah.
it's not terribly warm. Not like, not like the Series X when I get done and I'm packing it up and I pull the memory card out of the back of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it almost burned my hand. It's so hot, It's like, of course, it's heat shielded and everything, but still, it's like, oh my gosh, that's really hot. It's but yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got one. It's just, I it's there's just little quirky things that I just kind of like a little better on the Xbox, but it's fine.
Yeah, there's some stuff that you should play on there that are definitely worth putting on. Like God of War does have an update, and that's
Yeah.
like the best way to play that game.
And I
It's
think
just so good.
I really like Horizon Zero Dawn. I really enjoy it, but I don't know if I'm just kind of getting burned out on the open world games. It's like once I get from, it's like it's when I'm in the game and I'm playing and it's like, okay, that little quest was fun. Now I've got to go all the way over here to do the other quest, and from point A to point B, it's kind of like I really want to play something else. But then when I get to B, and then the story, then the story kicks in, and I'm actually playing. It's like, okay, this is great. I'm having fun. Why does
That's a
everything have to
game
be
that
open world?
the first part is like getting you in just because like the world is cool, and then it's
Right.
like takes a little bit to really like get going with the game because you get more weapons, you get out to areas that have different machines more than just the couple that you see at the beginning, and so there's a lot more strategy of like, okay, these kinds of machines are, you take this strategy to get them, you have to sneak up on them, otherwise they'll get you, or like this is the big T-Rex looking thing, you have different stuff to take it down, and that's where the game shines. And then it's just like it benefits you to run around and find all the campfires you can, and then just fast travel everywhere. At first, you have to have like bed rolls or something that's a consumable, but you get like a thing not too far in, or either you find a thing that you don't have to have that anymore. You can just infinitely do it, or you just have enough resources. You can just like build them if you need them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. It's like,
earlier on, it's definitely a little bit of like, okay, I've got to travel on. I got to travel on.
And I've got my horse, quote unquote horse, whatever they're called.
Horse.
The robot things, but it's like
I don't use them because it's just as fast to run around, and if you are, you're probably going to run into something you want to get and go do anyway.
Or if you hop off the hop off of him and start this story quest, and you go way over here without him, then it's like if you haven't unlocked the feature in your skill tree where you could call it back, it's like, where did I leave him at? Oh, I've lost him. Okay, well,
I'll just go. The good thing is, once you've run around, there's plenty of like spots. Like there are 3 or 4 different ones that are mounts. You can like find something quickly if you want to.
Yeah, it's no big deal. It's like, man, it'd just be Red Dead Redemption. Let me whistle. And oh wait, I haven't unlocked that yet because it's on the skill tree. So it's
that's definitely a game that like all the main quests are really good. There's some really good side quests. There's a few side quests that are kind of but they're worth doing because some of the side quests tie into the main story. So like if it's just a go fetch this or something like that, you might not necessarily need to do it. But all of I don't know if you found the hunting grounds yet.
Yep.
But there's a few different ones of those around the map that doing those are good because you can trade them in for better weapons and stuff once you get to the main city area.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of cool stuff in that game, but if you're not in the mood for it, it's like, don't force it.
Yeah, well, I'm at that point where they gave me this. I'm the seeker or whatever, so now I'm going out and I'm on a revenge hunt.
Yeah,
revenge.
I mean, the best thing about that game is how they tie in the mystery of who Aloy is and where she comes from into the mystery of like, hey, what happened to the world? It's all kind of like interwoven together really nicely.
Yeah.
So like the further into the story you get, every reveal you get is like, oh, that's cool. I want to know more. And it kind of keeps driving you forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, and I didn't really think about it until I sat down and tried to decide which of those games I wanted to play on the PlayStation 4. It's like, well, maybe I'll play Days Gone. Oh, it's an open world game. I don't feel like it. Maybe I'll play Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh wait, that's an open world game too. Shoot, let me play God of War. It's an open world. What?
God of War is not an open world game.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's more of it has an open hub area that you can do sort of side quest runs in, but it's all
pretty
not
So
like
it's
not
kinda
the same
like-
way that Horizon is. Horizon is
Okay.
definitely like an open world game. God of War has some bigger, more open areas and
Yeah.
things that kind of spiral off.
Sounds kind of
Yeah,
like
that
Gears
you
of
can
War.
do.
Then it has
Possibly.
a little hub area in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, but you can still.
It starts very linear, and then you get to a place that's kind of a hub that you, if you keep just doing the main quest, you'll go off and you'll keep coming back to it. Or if you do some side quests, there's different things you can do within that area and stuff. It's kind of one of those games.
Not that I don't like Horizon Zero Dawn, I do, but I may end up coming back to it.
God of War is way more focused than what Horizon is as far as just kind of where you're going. And
Yeah.
even if you're wanting to do side quest stuff, it's still a lot more narrow focused than what Horizon is as
and
far
that-
as game design.
And again, the trouble is, I was playing Immortals Phoenix Rising. I'd play every evening, and then it's like, well, I want to play something different, and I'm like playing Horizon, which is the exact same thing but kind of different. It's like, with a different setting, different story, different people. It's like, no, I really want something different. It's like, and when you right now in where I'm at with work, I don't have time for a big open world game. I just want something that I can sit down at night and go, yep, I did this, and I progressed, and it's, and
That's the thing I think with a lot of open world is it's that sense of progression that sometimes is hard to get. That even though if you're doing stuff, these open world games now, especially with something like Assassin's Creed, where they're just so packed with an ungodly amount of things at this point, where it's like, nothing ever feels substantial enough, and I think that's the biggest
Yeah, Assassin's Creed has definitely gone into the sprawl of let's have a giant map and bigger is better and it's more. It's not quality. Whereas something like back in the day, like Arkham City was open world, but it was all a smaller map that has more dense with lots of things worthwhile in it.
And that's what I'm more like. I'm fine with open world games. Don't give me Valhalla or Odyssey open world that's humongous. Give me something a little, because I opened up
Odyssey's
that map
open world is so much better than Valhalla's because it's not like it doesn't have the like pepper spray of just random dots that Valhalla has of just like half of it's just junk that like you can get through the whole game and not complete any of them and it doesn't even matter that much. It's like, ugh.
I started looking at Horizon. I was like, well, let me look at this. Oh my gosh, jeez, this map is huge. It's like I'm just in this little section, and it's like now they're saying, one of the missions is
saying that though.
Like, oh my gosh,
it's not anywhere near as big as what Valhalla is or anything. It's the map makes it feel a little bigger than but once you spend a bunch of time in it, it feels like, oh, okay, it's not quite as big as I thought it might have been, even though it's still fairly large. But
then you have the opposite problem, like Days Gone, where it's just like this didn't need to be open world at all. Like that was a linear experience with window.
You mean like L.A. Noire, that game that like every time I think about it, I'm like, why did they spend all of that money making an open world and then barely utilize it?
Open worldness. From what I remember, I was like driving around a little bit. I'm like, there's no real side quest. Just point
nope.
A to point
You're still just going from point A to point B. It's like you didn't have to do all that open world to do that. You just could have, but whatever.
Get rid of the driving and the open world stuff from that game. It would be a lot more focused, and it would be all the good parts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every once in a while you'd be driving, you'd hear, oh, APB, come over here, and have one little side quest, but it was, go to arrest this guy or something. It's like, you didn't really need to have that. That was whatever.
It's like open worlds can be great if you design for it and it's actually utilizing what's great about them. If you're just like doing it to have a big open world, that nobody wants that,
Yeah.
man.
Now the big decision is which system to take with me on vacation. Do I take the
Wait.
Xbox? Do I take the PlayStation 5? I don't know. I don't know what to do. This week I'm
And the
taking
answer is
How
the
long are you
Nintendo
going to be on
Switch.
vacation?
Yeah.
How long are you on vacation? 2 weeks?
Well, no, we're just going for the week. So, we're just.
Okay, take the Xbox.
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
thinking.
I want you to take the PlayStation, but take the Xbox.
Yeah, I think I may take the Xbox. That way, if during the week you guys are available, maybe we could actually play some Gears of War and finish that.
Hell
thing.
yeah! Or
And
like
then
even play
I'm not
State of
saying
Decay.
I'm not saying it's you guys. It's been totally me the whole time. I know this.
Dennis,
That it
we're not
is
at fault.
my fault. It's totally been my fault. It's even been my fault where we didn't record all last month. My brother came in one week and I hadn't seen him in a year, so it was like, okay, I really need to spend some time with him. And then last week we were going to record, and what was it last week? I don't even remember. Oh, I had to leave early. Last week it was I came home Friday. I got home Friday at 7:30. I came home Saturday. I went to bed at 2:30 in the morning because I started doing stuff here at the house. I did laundry. I did grocery store for Mom. I had to print out all my planograms for work. I had to do my expense report. I finally got done with all that stuff at like 2:00 in the morning. Went to bed, got up, and then drove back to Pennsylvania Sunday morning. So I was home like 24 hours that day. It was just like, yeah, this isn't happening.
Man.
But yeah, I mean. And they're just little things that I'm hoping maybe PlayStation can do something like quick resume. They boast this high speed hard drive. Surely there's something that they, some kind of quick resume like thing they can do. But that really I really miss that
And
because
it's more about the save state part of it. Because if you're just in a
Yeah.
game and use a little switcher to launch another game, if they're both on the internal drive, it just launches right into another one.
Right.
It's just not the thing that Xbox does, where you can have it saved at a certain, resumed wherever you left off.
Yeah.
That's the part that maybe the limited storage space would run into things there because you'd have to have that saved. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't, I played Astro's Playroom or whatever it's called. Is it Playroom? Is that what it's called? I don't know. I played the Astros game.
Yeah.
I played the Astros game on the VR, so to me it's kind of the same game but a little bit different. So I get it. And the other one, I kind of play it and I'm like, yeah, I've played this before. Oh, there's cool PlayStation stuff in here. That's awesome. Look, I made a Vita.
I'm assuming the soundtrack on the VR one was also good because that was one of the things I liked a lot about this.
Yeah, it is.
Especially
It's a really good
the GPU song
Yeah.
because it made me laugh.
Yeah.
How do you make a catchy song about a graphics card? Oh wait, here you go.
yeah.
Someone did it.
Someone did it, yeah. But let's see. But yeah, the Spider-Man game so far has been the one that impressed me with the speed. Because I mean, I know on the PlayStation 4 when you go from loading that game save into the main game, it took. I mean, it didn't take a long time, but it took 30 seconds, 45 seconds to load. And...
It's definitely the ones that are kind of like the first party things like that, because like the Demon Souls remake is very fast like that, and then Returnal also has a very quick kind of loading cycle to it.
Yeah, it
as well,
seems like it does. Yeah, what little bit of it I played, and I have Demon Souls, but I haven't installed it yet because it's like I don't feel like being frustrated right now. But yet I bought Returnals, and it's like I really wanted Returnals to try it out. I heard good things about the triggers, the adaptive triggers. It is kind of cool pulling up your gun, which you'll probably talk about. Pulling the sight up with the triggers on the controller. That's pretty cool. But yeah.
Man. Like if there's any system seller, it's Ratchet and Clank for me.
Yeah, and I have it on pre-order from Amazon. It's paid with it. It really hurt me yesterday. I drove around trying to find Returnals for the cheapest price, and I ended up buying it at Walmart, hoping that Walmart would have it for $59 instead of $69. But I'm guessing that some games like they'll have Resident Evil 8 or Village or whatever it is. They'll have it for $59 or for $49.95 when it comes out. They'll have it $10 less. But all the first party PlayStation titles were still $69. It's like, oh, all right, well, I'll buy it. It's like, it's fine. Yeah, I'm not paying for Ratchet and Clank. It's I paid for it with gift cards.
Money.
Yeah, so it's like I paid with it for gift cards. I'll throw them. It's like fine. I'll buy that one for. But yeah, and I don't know. It's like I told Nikki. I said, it's like I remember when games were $30 to $40, and they went from $40 to $50, and they went to $60, and I pitched a fit. I pitched an absolute fit when they.
That's sweet for me. Back in like the PS2 era, like GameCube era, like 50 was honestly that sweet spot for me. The moment it was 60, my gaming habits became less and less, at least physically, at least for day one releases.
Yeah.
And then now, if they're granted, this is just a Sony problem, but now that they're 70, again, this is just a Sony problem at the moment. But I mean, forget it. I'd be very selective at that point. I better know I'm gonna like this game. Otherwise, no.
Or you just hope that retail does the same thing around where like you can find it for cheaper, within a couple months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I thought, well, for Returnal, I'll give it a try. The reviews were good. The studio is seems like a smaller studio.
Pretty much sold it for me was just kind of all the reviews of it and several different sites of what they were talking about, what made it special. And I was like, this is a game that I will really like, so I'll go ahead and buy it. That was kind of.
Yeah. Well,
I'd forgotten it was coming out until the previews came out, and then I was like, okay, well, if the reviews are good, maybe I'll get it. And then the reviews are like really high, so I was like, all right.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I just waited for the review. But go ahead, Nathaniel, talk about it. So you can talk about what you've been playing. That's all I got to say about the PlayStation 5.
All right, well, I guess we'll start with Returnal then. So I've played, I don't know, maybe 6-7 hours of it total, because I played it a bunch yesterday and just a little bit today. And it's really, really cool. So all the stuff the reviews have been talking about are spot on. It's just super polished all around. I'm trying to think. Like, it looks just as good as the Demon's Souls remake as far as graphics wise goes, maybe even a little bit better. And it's definitely the best looking thing that I've seen on the PS5 to this point, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
but it also it's doing like it's not just that, but it's like every little thing that the PS5 can do is taking advantage of. So it does a lot of stuff with the DualSense, and it's doing stuff with 3D audio, and it's doing stuff with the graphics and fast load times. It's trying to actually be like, hey, this is the reason you want a PS5,
right?
Because here's all of the bullet points in a game, taking advantage of it. And I'm pretty sure Ratchet and Clank will be the same thing, where it's like, hey, because it's a Sony first party or whatever title, they're going to be paying attention to that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's super smooth. It runs really quick. So it's like, I don't know if it's running a full 60 or not, but it's definitely faster than 30.
Yeah, it's definitely faster
than 30. It feels
30.
like it.
Yeah.
I don't have like a display on my TV or anything.
I don't either.
It's running, so it's like, whatever. I don't care.
Sad thing is I really wish I had something like that. I wish they made either in the TV or the PlayStation just so I could see how, just because I'm a curiosity in me. That's all it is. But
I usually have that turned on Steam. Like Steam itself has a thing that'll put an overlay on any game you launch from it.
Right.
Plus some of the other launchers do, or even like within the NVIDIA game experience app thing, where we can turn on stuff that'll put a little FPS counter in the corner if you care.
I always like to do that in Warcraft before they did the Cataclysm, where they redid the graphics. So it was kind of that old Warcraft where it wasn't, you didn't need a real high-end computer to run it, but I'd upgrade. I'd upgrade my computer. I'm like, okay, let's see how many frames a second I can get in WoW. 168. Holy crap! It's like.
See, that's what I'm like on my PC, because I've got the high refresh monitor. That's what I like to say. Like, how close am I getting to that 165 refresh? Can I get this game there or not?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, with Returnal. What do you say, Dennis?
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, when it comes to like high refresh rate, I think the game that probably that I can get the closest to without those ridiculous frames right now at the moment is probably Overwatch. I usually average at about 155.
Oh, jeez.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, just install Minecraft. You can crank that up and be well past whatever refresh rate.
1,000 probably. Or Doom Eternal too. Doom Eternal is so well optimized. My God,
But yeah, Returnal is a really interesting mix of things. It's kind of like Prometheus from the Alien franchise, or a little bit of Alien itself, but kind of like a bit of that vibe of, plus a little bit of Metroid Prime, where you're on a world where there's all this ruins of some sort of alien civilization, and you're like kind of going through it and finding pieces of it and learning more about it because you like translated some message somewhere, or you found some cool weird looking corpses over here, and like, where did these come from? Or like, this room has this weird statue in it.
Why is
You know,
that mean?
that kind of stuff.
How is that possible? Yeah, that's
You do also run into like one of the first fun things of the game is like, hey, this is a cool space suit that's from, I forget, Ast or something. I forget what the name of the kind of organization is that you're part of. But it's like, hey, I'm gonna look and see what the idea is. Oh no, it's me. I'm freaking out because the character doesn't know what's going on yet, or at least that version of the character doesn't. And then where was I? Oh yeah, so like it's all that kind of like atmosphere. It's very, very good at building atmosphere in the game, both from just like the soundscape and then the graphics itself with how it uses like fog and rain and other weather, just kind of to get you immersed kind of in where you're at in the environment, kind of like what I remember from Metroid Prime back in the day. It's just like, here's all this cool environment that I'm exploring, and part of it is just the feeling of being there is really cool. But then there's also a bit of what did I say on Twitter? Because now I've got the third thing in the mix that's in my head. Anyway, like the game control is another part of the vibe of this game, because the actual mechanics of it feel very close to that for the basics anyway, for running around and shooting, and then the dash kind of thing that you do in this game feels very much like how those things felt in Control, which is really good. Like the shooting feels very kind of similar to it as well. It also has a similar mechanic where there's no ammo. It kind of recharges just like it does in that game.
Right. And I also like, I also like in Returnal how you can choose how sensitive you want the auto lock to be. You don't have to have auto lock at all. You can kind of do it a medium where it's not crazy, or you can just do it full on where you just hit the trigger button and it's like locked on there. So I like it when games give you options like that. Yeah.
So like it's got that kind of feel to it, and then I'm trying to remember here. I can just bring it up. Where's my Twitter account? What was it I posted? Because my brain is not working for me now.
I can't remember either. And did I respond? Did I reply to it? Or
it was just Alien and Metroid Prime. So I'd say both of them. I was like, for some reason, I was thinking of something else. So yeah, like it's definitely trying to be mysterious. It's also, if you wanted to go into some like of the more mysterious, cerebral side of sci-fi movies and stuff, it's got a little bit of that in there of just like, what's going on? Why am I in this weird, time loop? Was it Eternal Return or something is the first trophy that pops up. It's like, I don't know why that hadn't clicked for me, that like that's what Returnal is. It's mushing those two words together. I was like, oh, duh.
Well, it's like when I went to Walmart to buy it, and I said, they had it behind the glass case. She was like, what game you looking for? And I said, Returnal. And it was like literally the second game. All the week's releases are the first two that you see, and she's going, Returnal. It's right here. It's Returnal. I said it's Return and Eternal all together. I think that's what they mean by it. I'm not sure, but I said I haven't played it yet, but I'm guessing that's what they. She's like, Returnal. What kind of word is that? Right. It's like,
yeah. So like, where was I at? Oh yeah. Totally got sidetracked with the Eternal Returnal thing.
Sorry.
So you start the game and you're like trying to figure out what's going on, and it's trying to ease players who haven't done a roguelike before, kind of in more story terms of why this is happening. Like, why am I suddenly dying and coming back? And it's very mysterious about like, okay, I've just got to go find this signal thing because that's my goal, but in order to get there I have to go through these things, and things keep getting in your way. The first time you go is all kind of pre-built, and it's very straight. There's not really much like branching path or anything to it. It's just like, oh, hey, you discovered yourself. Now you have a pistol and you can shoot things. Here's what it means to shoot them. you get what they call adrenaline. So I think it's every 3 enemies you kill, you go up an adrenaline level up to level 5, and each level gives you a buff. So like, there's an active reload system on your recharging guns. So when the cooldown starts going, when it's in a specific zone on the meter, if you hit the fire button, it will reload immediately instead of having to wait the extra 2 or 3 seconds. And each gun is a different kind of spot in there as far as where you have to hit the button. So when you get the adrenaline up, there's one that makes that zone wider, and then there's stuff that gets you, more money from the enemies when you kill them, and like each level has a different buff that you get. And so, like, the first time you run through, you go through and you get to a hard enemy and you're like dead, and then like the title screen comes up, like late title card, like Returnal, whoa, and then you start over and the character's like, what's going on?
And that's exactly where I'm at. I'm in the ship. I was like, okay.
But then after that, it's procedurally generated in the sense that like each room is like a specific room, so it'll like connect them in different ways. But you'll notice like, okay, the layout of this room, I've seen this before because my last run I saw it, or something kind of like that. It's not like randomly generated terrain or anything. It's all like specific rooms that then they just kind of jigsaw puzzle them together differently each time.
Yeah.
But you're going through, you get all sorts of different kind of like pickups that are all basically just that run, and then you lose them when you die, just like any good old roguelike. And then there's a few things you'll get that are permanent upgrades that are like, so far it's just like equipment things that I've gotten. So the first one you get lets you do the alternate fire on your guns. Mm-hmm. And so with that, you hold your left trigger down to aim like halfway.
Right. But
because of the adaptive triggers, it has that kind of like hard midpoint that you can be like, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
And then if you pull it the rest of the way, it goes into alt fire mode. And there's things like an electric web, there's like homing missiles, like grenade launchers, just depends on what gun you have.
It's really cool.
It's really cool,
that.
But I wish they let you swap it. It's my one minor gripe in there, that you don't have the option to swap that, because you can change to a control scheme that doesn't use that adaptive trigger thing. It does something else for alternate fire on like a different button press. But I want to do the same thing, but swap it. So that when you pull it all the way down is aiming, and when you half pull down is alt fire. Middle of combat, when you're panicking, you're going to squeeze that trigger hard, and you're just going to go straight through to alt fire.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Screwed me up. Like, I've gotten a little better about it, and then you realize you don't need to aim down sights for a lot of the like peon enemies anyway, because if you get the reticle close to them, it's going to hit them. Or if you have enough power-ups, there's like homing missiles that automatically are going anyway too. So it's kind of like, I'd rather keep the mobility and run around rather than aiming down sights, unless there's an enemy with a weak point, and then you want to aim down so you can hit the weak point and kill them faster.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a balance of like me learning, like, okay, these enemies I don't need to aim that much or worry about it, whereas these ones I do.
Right. And where I'm at in the game, where I'm just at the beginning, I didn't have really an alt weapon anyway, so it was like I'd pull down the trigger all the way and it would just it wouldn't do anything. So when I'm
that's what you're used to doing in any shooter, is just hold in all the triggers.
Right,
so you're like, but also, even if you're not thinking about it, you're just like, I'm going to squeeze, and you're like, oh crap, there's like something over there, I got to shoot it. You're going to be squeezing harder and quicker than like if you're just sitting here playing with it when nothing's around. So I wish they'd let you swap that. That's it.
Yeah, that would be,
It's a minor gripe because, in the end, it's like, I can get used to it. Like any control scheme, you kind of have that learning curve when you first start going through it. And especially with this, it's not something that any other game has ever done. So it's kind of like, all right, a little bit of an extra learning curve. Don't squeeze too hard.
Yeah.
But so like you get, like any roguelike, you get all these chests around that you can open up and get different items or weapons. So you can get, like, as your run progresses and you use a weapon, or you get these certain pickups that will increase this kind of proficiency bar. And every time you level up to like level 2, level 3, whatever, it increases the quality of guns that you'll find in chests. So like the longer your run goes, the better of a chance you'll get better weapons pickups when you're opening chests and things. There's all sorts of different like item types that you have, some that are just like money, healing items and stuff. You have artifacts that you have in your inventory that has certain different buffs to it. You have parasites that you can get stuck on you that have like both positive and negative
Yeah.
kind of things. There are different chests and items that you pick up that are called malignant versions that are all like purple grossness on them that you can pick it up, but it has a chance most of the time it's high enough that it's pretty much guaranteed that you will have a malfunction on your suit. So that malfunction is when enemies die, they leave an acid pool, or
Right.
enemies will fire better projectiles or whatever. There's a bunch of different ones, and then they have basically a requirement for you to remove it is collect this much of the money item, or kill things this many enemies with melee, or whatever it might be.
Right.
The fun part of that I discovered is there are things that if you have malfunctions on your suit, they work better. So it gets a buff. So it's kind of incentivizing you to run with some of these.
Right. And I got
kind
one
of
like that at
things.
the beginning. It was
To make it harder, it's technically harder, but you have this other thing that's better because you have these malfunctions on it. It's like, if you have a malfunction, this will be 30% more damage, or whatever it might be.
So it's like, wait, I have a malfunction. I don't want it, but the malfunction gives me a boost of like 2% of this. It's like, but it says malfunction. I don't understand. I'll just keep it. It's like,
early on, it's just more. It's definitely worth it just to pick them up to play it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's see what weird effect I get this time. It's not like it matters too much early in the run anyway. I think that's gonna be something that comes more into play later as I get more and more used to the game. I'm like, all right, I don't want to get those right now because I'm close to doing whatever thing, and I don't want to risk having a bad effect on me. But there's like all sorts of cool different power-ups, basically like a Metroidvania as well, kind of. I see some of them in the early levels too that I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to need an item to get that because there's a cool glowy yellow spot that I can't quite get to. And I've found out it was a grappling hook, which makes total sense because there's like high ledges and stuff that does wrong. But I've gotten stuff where you activate kind of like teleporter systems, or they have like different teleporters. You can go back to earlier parts of the map if there's something you want to get. If you've made it further on and you like got a key to open a door, you can go back to a door and open it.
Right.
I found there's like hidden treasure vaults. There's cool, like a lot of the statues are destructible, and some of them you can get gold from it. There's all sorts of fun little kind of hidden things in the game that are just interesting to discover. Kind of like any roguelike, is part of the charm of them is just like doing run after run and finding something new this time that you hadn't last time, whether it's a new room or a new like weapon or item, or hey, here's a cool secret I know how to get to now. That kind of stuff is really, really fun.
Yeah, like I said, so far, what little bit of time that I've spent with it, which is this much, I enjoyed it. So
if you like third-person shooters and you like roguelikes, or maybe even just like one or either of those things, it's definitely worth checking out if you can get your hands on it. And if it's something you don't have a PS5 now, keep it on your list for later. Eventually, it's not gonna be one of those like launch games that are terrible. It's really cool.
Yeah,
I've made it. I had almost a bit of a lucky run. My first real run made it all the way through and beat the first boss of the first biome on the first try. And then got into the second biome, died, came back, and then I've died a lot more quickly the other runs because I think I just got a good mix of items. And the thing that saved me was I found a very rare item that resurrects you in place.
Mm.
So during the boss fight, I died, got resurrected, and then killed it when I had like a bare minimum of health left. I like eked through on the first try.
I love crap like that. That's one of my favorite things in games is when you.
And I did. The fun thing is because it was mysterious. Like I had this item, but didn't know it would resurrect me. It's not like it said that on there, and so went in. I was like, oh crap, come on, I'm almost in. And then I died. I was like, no. And then it was like, brings me back up. And it said like the such and such item is resurrected you. I was like, sweet. Keep going. It was like really close again. I was like, no, get him. And it was like almost dead when he died.
There's a thing like that on Immortal Phoenix Rising. And there was a thing like that on Destiny. I think it was a Warlock. Was it a Warlock or a Hunter buff? There was something like that you could come back real quick. And I remember we did the first Vault of Glass raid, and all of us wiped except me, and I'm running around trying not to get killed. And I get killed, and the thing resurrects me, and I come right back and go, and the raid was over because I beat the boss with my last. And there's nothing better in a game when you have something like that where you think, "Oh, I'm dead." No, I'm not. You know, it's like.
I mean, that's part of what I like about the Souls games is like the
Yeah.
boss fights are really well designed in there when you just or manage to just barely eke one out and just like you have barely any health left, but you beat it finally, and you're like, yeah. It's really good.
That's why I play games. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's why I get good.
Yeah.
I just barely get good enough to barely do it.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more Returnal. I've only played, a few runs so far, and the graphics are really, really good. The 3D audio sounds really cool. I've played it both with headphones on and then just with like the normal kind of speakers. And it sounds good both ways.
Yeah.
If you have it with the headphones on, it was cutting off the sound so I can hear it until the second time I played. It has a lot of audio from the controller that's actually really nice. So your alt fire is on a cooldown, and whenever it recharges, it'll play out of the controller like a cool recharge noise.
It had been so long since I'd played without a headset in. When I was in the hotel the other day and was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm like, what is that noise? Why does that sound so loud? Oh, it's coming from the speaker in the controller. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I would, for Demon Souls, I would probably play it with speakers so you could hear it through there, because they do some cool stuff with the controller speaker as kind of like an extension of the soundscape. So like when you're gathering souls, you'll hear it through the TV speakers, but it also like as they get closer to you, it gets louder on the controller, so it feels like the souls are gathering closer to you, and just different environmental clinks and clanks that come through there that just kind of accentuate. They use it as like an accent kind of tool in that game. It was really cool.
Cool.
Although the 3D audio with headphones in that game is also really nice.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to be creeped out, don't play with that on, because you'll be much more immersed in the environment.
Yeah. I've noticed that with the 3D audio and being in a hotel room by yourself, it's like, oh wait, that was just the headphones. Okay, that's right. Forgot it. Sorry. Carry on. Because the VR had the 3D audio on the PlayStation 4 when you used the VR headset, and it was amazing playing in VR with the 3D sound. It was really good. So now to have it in just regular games is fantastic.
Just in the background, you just start hearing 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Yeah. What the?
Loaded notes.
Oh boy.
People up above me, I was like, oh, what is that guy downstairs doing? And it's like, never mind. Carry on. It's 2:00 in the morning.
Before Returnal came out, I've been playing some other stuff. I've been playing Immortals Phoenix Rising because I bought it on sale in there, and it's like I'll pick that back up from my save since you could do the cross save thing. And it's fun. That's a game that I can play. Like I'll play for a few hours and be like, all right, I'm done for a week.
Yep.
And then come back and play a few more hours and get further on. I have 3 of the gods have been fully restored, and I'm onto the 4th major area. I have to start that one. It's kind of like the next thing I'll do when I play again.
I spent way too much time in that first area. It was like, I literally did everything in that first area. I spent 12 or 15 hours in that first area, and it was like, I went to the second area, and I'm just like one-shotting things. It's like, and I unlocked the guy. I was like, okay, I need to stop just grinding in each area. It's like...
To be fair, that first area is my favorite area so far because it's prettiest.
Yeah,
it's really got all the green, fun stuff, and then like the Ares area I did not like as much because it's all just kind of like
orange
desert wasteland kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of like those types of levels in general. Like even in something like Mario, like I never look forward to getting to the desert levels. They just kind of bore me usually.
Yeah, I agree with that. So.
But yeah, it's a fun game. But it's not one that I want to keep playing for a long time and mainline it. It's a good kind of like second game. So it's like, I want to like to like cleanse my palate or what have you, I can play a few hours of Immortals and then put it away again and then come back and
Yeah.
like, wait, what was the controls again? Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
Just remember that the double shoulder buttons is the counter, and you'll be okay.
Yep. And it's usually the first fight or two. I'm like, crap, I got to get used to that again. Okay. It's like,
but I have been mainlining Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I am very deep into that game. I don't know. I haven't checked my hour count, but it's very high.
Yeah.
I think there's like 14 total chapters in that game, and I'm in like chapter 12. So.
Oh, so you're getting close.
And I've done probably I think I just got a trophy today that said I've done 40 side stories. So I've done a huge chunk of the side stories. I played some of the Dragon Kart minigame today. Because I'd unlocked it, hadn't gone back and played it after the first race. I was like, oh, let me do it. So I did like 3 of the like Grand Prix. I'm like, hey, this is like Mario Kart, but not good.
Not good.
You unlock some of the like couple of carts you can unlock like makes it handle a little bit better, but it's still just like And they do this thing where after you've beat kind of the Grand Prix, you get actual side quests from some of the like characters that you beat in there. Like, oh, I'm your rival now. Here, race me again. And you go back onto the tracks, but they're super foggy, and it sucks because you can't see the wall until you're like 10 feet away or something. You're just like, oh crap, turn. It's like, then there's like one of them that they chose where the main track, even without the fog, had kind of a little bit of a trap, like not really, but like where they have the speed boost thing, like very close to a wall, and to a turn. So if you can see it coming, you can anticipate it. But if it's all foggy and you forgot it's there, it's just like smash into the wall, like crap. Come on, Ichiban, turn. But yeah, like that game has so much just fun, dumb stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like you fight a giant Roomba as a side quest boss out of nowhere. A circus, in quotes, comes to the park area, but it's really just a dude out there with a cage that has an animal in it, and you do like 4 of them. Like there's like a bear, what was the other one? It was like a bear, a tiger, or something else, and then the last one's a monkey that gets into yet another freaking construction equipment thing in that game that's a boss fight. There's like 4 or 5 of them so far I think I've done. It's like, I don't know, just have like a backhoe and then like you can punch it for a while until the guy comes out. Like that makes sense. Yeah. Yes. We'll punch this equipment and it will take damage instead of my fist just getting bloodied because I'm punching it. Yeah, like I've done all of the business minigame into that game to where now it's just my money farm. Because I've beat all the story part of it, but it lets you keep going. So as you do like each kind of the way that it works is you started out, you met somebody who's like their father's business. They inherited it when he died and they wanted to, run it, but didn't know anything about doing business, and some business person said, I'll help you, and then screwed them over, and it's almost, to close, and you help her kind of like build it back up from nothing to be like the #1 corporation in the city. And so it's all about kind of making investments, hiring employees to run these different businesses, and then like see how much money you make. But now I've got it where it's pretty much just like run, go. Hey, it's a shareholder meeting. Let me do the shareholder. Hey, beat up the shareholders with words, and then you win. Because like you do like I think 4 different kind of sales periods, and then you do a shareholder meeting.
Yeah.
And then you have like different like people there, and they're like color coded, and then you have a team of your own people who are also kind of color coded, but the graphics make it look, and the UI makes it look way more complicated than it actually is. So you like pick a person, and then they start talking with some objection bubble that looks like straight out of Phoenix Wright, and it's slowly filling up, but it's a specific color. So if you pick someone with that color, then it like breaks down their defenses more quickly, and then a combo meter pops up with maybe a different color, and if you match the color, it gives you bonus damage, and then you knock them out, and then they're like, hey, on board, cool. it's kind of silly, but it's Yakuza.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
every time you finish successfully a shareholder meeting, you get an executive bonus because Ichiban's the president of the company. And I've got to now, like, at the end, you get 3 million yen each time you do that. So you can spend, like 15 minutes and get like, 9 million yen. You're like, all right, now let me go buy a bunch of upgrade materials. Let me go invest in this. Let me do this or that. I'm at the point where my quest line was get 3 million yen and then go to this place to trigger the next story cutscene. And I've had that and I've gotten like more than 300 yen and then spent it all like about 3 times today. Like, I want to go upgrade my weapons. Okay, let me do that. I don't have the materials. Let me go buy the materials and then go upgrade them and go back and forth. And let me go find this rare material and let me go run over here and do this side quest thingy I still have. Or let me build up the bond with this last person in my squad that I have so I can go progress their story. And
Yeah.
it's just
I need
let
to
me do
play
all the
that
random
game.
stuff to the side before I go to that pink dot and do the actual story. I
Yeah.
did like I played it for many hours and I didn't do any of the story quests.
See, that's when it's a good game. It's a good game.
Yeah.
You can play for a bunch of
And
hours.
I've skipped almost all of the crap that I hate about Yakuza, namely all the stupid mini games that have been there for years of like, here's the arcade, here's this casino, here's this like super in-depth Japanese chess that I know nothing about that I can't play. Like, I won't do that. I'll do the collect the cans mini game where I'm just driving a bicycle around into cans. Like, that's easy.
Yeah, I do go to the arcade because I like some of those old Sega games. Other than that, that's usually about the only thing that I do.
You can pretty much skip it and be fine. Like, there's
Right.
some stuff tied into that you can get, like, some of the kind of advances of like the challenge things of like run 10 kilometers and you'll advance your kindness or whatever stat it may be. There's some of that tied to the arcade, but there's so many things that tie into that you can pretty much not have to care about it if you don't want to.
Right. Yeah. It's cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I need to
play
play it.
I did there's a kind of like vocational school that you use to upgrade your personality stats. I've done all of those because I said, screw doing these. Just by myself. I'm looking up the answers because it's like a pool of questions and it picks random ones each time. And if you don't get 3 out of 5 correct, then you don't pass, and they're all fairly expensive to take the test. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna do that.
Yeah,
because I don't care. There's no point in me doing like real life trivia about history or math or whatever other topic I don't really know. Just look up the answers, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's no shame in that at all.
I've fully upgraded the upgrade shop. There's like a workshop that like you have to invest money in it for it to get higher tiers to be able to like do better quality weapon upgrades and stuff. And I've fully maxed that out. The last one to go from 3 to 4 was like 20 million. I was like, that's chump change. Now I'm president of a large corporation. I'm not some bum on the street. That is funny, though, because some of the story missions, there's still dialogue saying, like, oh, man, I'm broke, kind of, just like implying that he has no money. And I'm like, but I was just doing the business thing. I've got like a bunch of money right now. What are you talking about?
That's all. He's being humble.
Yeah. Oh, man, he definitely falls into the lovable idiot kind of character category, maybe. I mean, he's not an idiot, but he's very much,
I guess maybe.
I don't know, he's very much not super smart in certain areas, and he always wants to see the best in people, which is cool. Like having a character like that, it's fun. He's very charismatic, and he has giant hair. It's great. I think I have all of the party members that you get in the game now. Because for a while I just had the original kind of like 2 or 3 people, and then now I've got a pool of 6 or 7. I can't remember now. I'd have to look. They're all really cool. Some of them I've assigned new jobs. Some of them I just left on their default job because they're the only one who can do it, and it's really cool. So it's like, no, I'm going to let you keep your cool saber sword that you can chop people with. I'm not going to turn you into a chef so you smack him with a spatula. That's dumb. I think I've got like my Ichiban is the musician because I like smacking people with a guitar. or just all the dumb songs that he gets to
That's-
sing that are like basically casting debuffs. So it's like, hey, I want to lower your enemy's attack. It's like, give peace a chance, and just like dumb stuff like that. It's great.
That's funny.
So yeah, I will finish that game at some point. I've been trying to like go through it. Well, I don't really have that much in the grand scheme of things left with it, but I want to finish it before Mass Effect comes out.
Yeah.
That's been my goal, so I think I'll be able to do that.
Yep. I paid off my Mass Effect pre-order on Amazon the other day, so I'm like, I'm ready for it. Give it to
That, and then there's some other stuff coming out, like kind of May, like it's like Mass Effect, and then there's maybe the Biomutant, if that's good, is coming
Yeah.
out, and then Ratchet and Clank in June, and like
Yep.
there's a few coming right after each other.
Yeah, that bio one kind of interests me. You kind of turned me on to that one. You know, when you
I mean, it's unique looking.
Yeah.
So if it comes out well, great. It might not. Who knows? Because it's an unknown thing at this point. So
yeah.
we'll see when it comes closer what the reviews say about it.
Yep.
But anyway, that's pretty much what I've been playing.
All right, cool. Dennis, we're an hour and a half in, and we're still talking about what we've been playing. I went on and on and on about the PlayStation.
That's the power of the rant.
And I had a lot of rants this week. So.
my list is, well, honestly pretty average, but I'll try to get through it as quick as possible. So yeah, I mean, firstly, lately I've been playing Cozy Grove basically since that came out. I wish, I mean, obviously it's been a while since we did the podcast, but I played when it came out, but maybe about 3 weeks ago.
I think so.
So, but I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between it on Switch and it on PC. It's interesting because like it's the same game, yet they feel very different for some reason because of the different platforms they're on. I guess just because of the way you control them is just very, very different. In some cases, it's better on the Switch. In some cases, it's better on PC. The biggest problem with Cozy Grove at the moment, well, first of all, if you're not familiar with Cozy Grove basically, to kind of give you an idea of what it is without having to fully explain it, is basically imagine Animal Crossing and Don't Starve had a baby, and that's what that is. The sort of nature of the quests and how you meet everybody and how you kind of go through everything. Like you're stuck on this island, kind of like you are on New Horizons, and basically just try to build a new home there, and then you meet new spirits because you're considered a spirit scout. And that's why you're there to begin with, is to kind of help people, kind of almost kind of like how Spiritfarer is, to kind of just help people move on. But they feel like before they can move on, they have these things where like, oh, I wish I could have helped people more. So then you help them kind of help or complete the tasks that they couldn't complete when they were alive. So just to kind of help them move on by the end of it. Now, the biggest issue with Cozy Grove that I have really is that despite it being super relaxing and like there's literally no penalty to anything, I mean, it works how you want it to work. Now, the biggest issue though is that for some reason there is a strict limit on how much you can actually play. Now, what I mean by that is literally you can maybe do only a few quests every time that you play. Now, it tracks your system time similar to Animal Crossing does, right? So depending on what time it is, let's just say it's 8 p.m. at night, then it'll be nighttime in the game, right? And certain things happen during at certain times and whatnot. And yeah, so basically, if you do one quest per person, that's basically all you get. And then, so unless you time travel like you would in Animal Crossing, you basically have nothing else to do in that game anymore. And that's the kind of the most unfortunate thing, because a lot of people were complaining about that. And then the devs, their kind of response was just like, look, we appreciate people like loving the game so much to the point where they just want to play, but we developed it with the intention of like, basically they were literally saying go play something else. It's really what they said, because they were like, look, we wanted this game to be one of those routine games of just like, oh, I'll jump in for maybe 10-20 minutes, play a little bit of this, play a little bit of that, and then come back tomorrow and do it all over again. Now the problem is the game after a while does get repetitive, and considering a lot of these tasks or quests are literally just hide and seek, because like they'll be like, oh, I wish I had like 3 mushrooms, and then you go look for 3 mushrooms, because somebody's got to bake a mushroom cake, whatever that is, so then you help them build bake a mushroom cake, and you get them all these supplies and whatnot, and somebody's just like, oh, I want to build a hammer, you get them 3 iron ingots and whatnot. So and all that. So, it literally is just hide and seek. Oh, I left, like one of the guys used to be like a mailman or whatever, right? And he's just like, oh, you know what? I never got to deliver that one thing because I lost the package. Can you help me find this package? So then you go digging around everywhere, and then all of a sudden this
Yeah.
package, almost like a fossil, is like underground somewhere. And so you get the package, you deliver it to the guy, and he's like, "Oh, thank you. Oh my God, now I can quite literally rest in peace." So it's a really cute game, super charming, and I love everything about it except for that literal restriction of just like they literally want you to go play something else. That's the
That's
biggest
what I
problem.
hate about Animal Crossing already. So
Like
doubling down on that is just kind of like,
like let's do stuff, hang out, but only limited.
Yeah,
I
but at
don't
least
like
like
the real time part of Animal Crossing. It's never been a thing that's like, oh, it's neat because it's dark outside. Here, it's also dark in the game. It's like, no, just have a day night cycle in the game like any other game. I get you. At this point, it's the Animal Crossing thing, and it was at the back when you put it in, it was like trying to be unique. I get it. It's just not something for me.
yeah, it's now thankfully, with Animal Crossing, at least for me anyways, I've always found other things to do. Now in
Yeah.
Cozy Grove, literally once you're done, you're done. That's the biggest problem with Cozy Grove is like you don't really there's not much in the way of creativity. Like you have your own campsite because you're stranded there, so you built like a little castaway looking campsite. And but there's not much you can do there. I mean, you can place things down, but it's literally just this small, and you unlock more areas. Like the island grows as you progress, and technically the game is 40 hours long now. But here's the problem: for a 40-hour game that you only get to play about 20 minutes at a time, once a day, most people are going to quit. No one's going to beat this game.
Right.
Most
Yeah.
people will be done with it. So that's the biggest problem with a game like this. And it's unfortunate that they did that, but it is what it is.
That's why you should play the PC thing and hope enough people get annoyed at it that they put a mod out that fixes, lets you bypass that or whatever. Just like quick reset.
Yeah, well, thankfully you can just change the system time. So I mean, but then there's the whole thing of like at least on PC, this hasn't been a problem on Switch, I've noticed, but on PC people have been suffering from like save data corruption and stuff like that because of the system changes and stuff like that. But on Switch, for some reason, um, to time travel. But yeah, Cozy Grove. If you want something like a nice, cute little, kind of sim to kind of relax, and you're not looking for anything that's stressful because it is not stressful. It's super relaxing. Go check it out. It's worth checking out. But just be aware that this is not a game you can binge. So it's unfortunate because once you play it, everyone that I've known that's played it is just like, man, I love this game. I just wish I could actually sit down and play it for hours at a time versus 10, 20 minutes and then be forced literally to time, like you're forced to time travel almost. It's crazy.
Like, even if it was exactly the same, but in order to kind of hit that cap of where you finished everything is like an hour or 2 hours or something instead of 20 minutes, that would be better because you'd feel like you could get some time in it. 20 minutes is so short.
It is, and it passes by a lot quicker, and especially when all you're doing is hide and seek stuff, and you find these things quick. It's the game doesn't challenge you by any means. So yeah. We have been playing that. It's really cool. In addition to like kind of chill games, I've been playing The Last Campfire. That's kind of like Hello Games, kind of one of those like surprise games that kind of came out of nowhere when it was announced. To kind of go from No Man's Sky to this cute little sort of puzzle relaxing game. Almost kind of it has a lot of Journey vibes to it, and I like it a lot. You kind of meet other they call them embers. You yourself play as an ember, and you meet these cute little creatures basically, and it's kind of a similar thing where you're just kind of trying to help them, I guess, kind of move on basically. Everyone kind of went through their own sort of journey trying to come to terms with whatever they were coming to terms with. I forgot, but yeah, and then you just try to you do these little puzzles because everyone's kind of turned to stone, and then you kind of bring them back to life after you beat each of their respective puzzles, and then you kind of help them kind of move on and find their way basically. But it's super chill, super chill. Not a long game. It's about maybe like 3.5 hours, but it was like the perfect length for what it was. And whether you get it full price or on a sale, well worth it, because I think the game's normally $15 anyways, which is honestly well worth that price. So, but if you can find it on sale, it's a solid one if you're looking for like a nice, relaxing like puzzle game that has really nice aesthetic to it as well. But yeah, been playing that on Switch. Great Switch game, a great game that kind of lie down and just kind of relax with. So, but yeah, and then in addition to that, I'm sure everyone's familiar with Tetris 99. Now, recently,
Yeah.
now Tetris 99 is not for me. That game stresses me out to no end. I love Tetris Effect, however. Tetris Effect is brilliant, but Tetris 99, like I know when I go into Tetris, I'm already stressed alone as it is. Like every second block drops, I'm already having an attack. So now imagine that with 99 other people who want to add like stones and stuff that you can't do anything about. Then it just becomes a nightmare. Pac-Man 99 is kind of similar. Pac-Man 99 just came out maybe a week or two ago, and I've been playing a lot of that now. A lot of that now. It's what you expect. It's you against 99 other people playing Pac-Man. Now they do things really interestingly here. Now, basically, if things get faster and faster and faster, but then also like as you collect the big dots to make the ghosts edible, that gets quicker and quicker and quicker, as the more people go down, and then as you're eating more stuff and just getting higher points, you can send more ghosts to other people, as well as just like these fake Pac-Mans basically. And then if you run into one of the fake Pac-Mans, they slow you down like a lot. So if things get super fast, obviously the ghosts get fast too. So if you're slowing down, they're going to catch up to you, and then that's it, you're dead. But then there's like a red version of the Pac-Man where if that hits you, I mean, that's an automatic death right there too. So then you have that to worry about on top of the ghosts. But it's fun. If you love Pac-Man, you're gonna love this. I put a few hours into it, but I uninstalled it. I'm not gonna lie, I uninstalled it because I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I've had my fun and I've had my stress, so I got rid of it. But the highest I got was like maybe like sixth place, I think, sixth or fifth place. So I was happy with that. And but that game, it gets rough. Like the higher, as the numbers start dwindling for the amount of people that are on the board, it gets crazy. But it's kind of similar like Pac-Man 256. If anyone's played that, I love Pac-Man. So, but if you play Pac-Man 256, it's literally just a never-ending Pac-Man game where you kind of go through these levels seamlessly, but at the same time, like there's like a glitch behind you, and it's almost like a maze, and you just kind of keep going and find your way and try not to get stuck, basically, as a glitch is like literally eating the board, so you have to run away from this glitch. But it's a great game. So Pac-Man 256, also equally as stressful if you're looking for a great stressful Pac-Man game. So in addition to that, though, more on the indie side of things, I've been playing a lot of indie stuff lately. What Comes After, been playing that, or did play that on PC. I beat it. That game was very short. That game was like maybe like 45 minutes. Like it was not long at all.
That's quick.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's a cute little. It's like maybe like $4 or $5. I can't remember, on Steam, something like that. And that's where I played it, was on PC, and. And yeah, no, it's very much a linear experience, right? You're just going it's kind of like a side-scrolling thing. And also, oddly enough, I've been playing all these games lately with spirits. Basically, you're on this train, basically, and you fall asleep. Something about them, I don't know. But you've been playing, you're on this train and you fall asleep. And something happens and you wake up you're in this kind of like limbo, basically, and you're just like, oh my god, how did I get here? But like you're like human, and all the ghosts are like, what are you doing here? Like, you're not a ghost, like what do you. And so you start talking to all these ghosts on the train, basically, and by the end of it, it's very heartwarming, and actually it's super cute, and it tugs at your heartstrings a little bit, honestly. It's super super enjoyable game, though. So if you want something really quick, really easy, it's 45 minutes, buy it for $5 and then refund it. So
$5 is reasonable.
Yeah. So
Poor Dev, if everyone did that, man.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but it's definitely worth playing, though. And quite frankly, it is worth keeping. Like it's well worth the $5 for sure. Even though it's short, I promise you, you've spent worse money, or more money, worse thing. That were probably just as short. I promise you. So, but yeah, it's definitely a cute little kind of self-reflection sort of experience with a nice cute little narrative. So but yeah, that's I've been playing that, beat that, it was great. In addition to that, now obviously Resident Evil Village, we were talking about that earlier, that comes out May 7th, I believe, so here in about a week roughly. And super stoked for that. Played the, because I was impatient, played the Village demo when that came out, and then played the Castle demo when that came out, because they came out separately for some reason, both on PS4 and PS5 only at first. Now they are everywhere. They're on PC and Xbox as well. And I, right before the stream, actually, I just got done playing it on PC because I just kind of wanted to see how it would run on my laptop. I know it's going to run perfectly fine on my desktop, but as I'm still out of town for the next week or so, it's I wanted to play it on my laptop. But that game is so incredibly well optimized. Like, that RE engine is crazy because I put everything on max settings. Now if you go to the minimum settings, now granted I have no ray tracing on this laptop, but otherwise, if you go to the minimum settings on the Steam page, they're actually like pretty reasonable. And considering how gorgeous that game is, now when I booted up the game, it was on low. Right now, even on low, it looked astounding. Right, but out of curiosity, I was just like, let me just bump it up. Let me see what happens. Because I have the RAM space for it, and that's even my GPU. I have a 1050 Ti on this thing, so but I have 16 gigs of RAM. So I was just like, let me just mess with all the ambient occlusion and the lighting. Let me just put everything to max. Ran beautifully, no hiccups, still 60 plus frames. And I was like, oh my God, like, it's crazy, and as astounding as that game is, I think really the only thing that would really cause an issue, frame drops, really, if you wanted to, is going to be that 4K. And of course the ray tracing, obviously ray tracing is going to impact it to a degree, if your computer, if you have the GPU capable of it. But otherwise, yeah, if you don't have ray tracing and you're just playing 1080p, my God, like, it's even on the 1050 Ti, not that it's a bad card, but we are on the 30 series now by comparison, to kind of give you an idea of where we're sitting in terms of GPU releases. It runs beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So it's incredible how well optimized that engine is. But yeah, I've been playing that, and it is fantastic. Again, as I said with Resident Evil 7, I don't consider this Resident Evil. However, as a game in its own right, it's still incredible. I'm so super excited for Village. It's cool seeing Chris Redfield back, actually looking like Chris Redfield, not that nonsense, whatever that Chris Redfield was in Resident Evil 7, that weird.
Oh yeah.
Someone who disguised himself as Chris Redfield was not this Chris Redfield. I think just that was identity theft. Was that what that was? that was. My God. But now the Chris Redfield is what Chris Redfield should look like.
It's Chris Redfield with a different middle name. It's like a different guy.
Yeah.
Chris Miguel Redfield.
Yeah.
His cheap Mexican equivalent, as Mr. Burns said. Give me Steven Spielbergo, or his
Spielbergo.
Yeah, get his cheap Mexican, non-union Mexican equivalent.
Rojo Field.
Yeah.
But but no, the game runs like beautifully both in the outside environment, because I played both the Village and the Castle demo. I ran, because I already played them on PS4, I already knew what to do, so I kind of did like a personal speed run. I just kind of ran through them within a couple minutes. But whether you're in the outside or in the inside of the castle, which the outside is detailed, but it's not until you go inside that castle where, like, once you see the amount of detail on the walls and the lining on the railings of the stairs, and and the chairs and just everything. I mean, nothing really looks like it. There's like a low quality asset in there. It almost seems like everything is just like bumped up to 10, and they're just like, we want it to be as beautiful as possible. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
I mean, I know the demo's available, so I just downloaded it on PC. I'll probably get it on Xbox. I was curious. I didn't really like 7. Like, I only played like a little bit of it in VR, and I never really got back. I haven't. Do you think I'll like this more?
Yeah. I think this one is structured. I mean, again, it's just a demo, so I can't say for certain, but like, this one so far seems like it's structured just a lot more intuitively, because my biggest problem with 7 was like I got lost so much in that house, and even though a lot of the stuff was just like triggers and stuff like that, it was easy to kind of lose sight of where you were and what you needed because there were so many key items that were just, I don't know, there wasn't enough visual cues. Now, Resident Evil 7 was a great game, but in terms of visual cues and stuff like that, it was easy to get overwhelmed, especially once you went into certain areas where you had those big charcoal beasts, whatever those things were, so
Didn't make it that far. Spoiler. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
spoiler, no. But this one feels a lot more, I don't know. I think it's because there's a lot more distinct layouts and stuff like that. And there's a lot more breathing room. I think Resident Evil 7, the biggest problem was there were so many narrow hallways that it felt like a maze no matter where you were. And there were so many locked doors to the point where it's just like, I mean, one of these has to open at some point, but yet somehow you're taking laps and like none of them's opening. It's like, do I not have a key? I've looked in every drawer. What's going on? But this one feels, I don't know, just having played the demo, like when I first played it blindly on PS4, everything just made sense, right? I just picked it up and everything just simply made sense to me. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy, but if you're familiar with, if you play a lot of horror games that emphasize the more puzzle elements, you're used to that sort of, those mechanics, the progression, the gameplay, and what to expect. You kind of, everything just felt very natural as I was, playing through Village. So I do think you would like this one more. Also, I also feel like this one gave me a chance to be a lot more defensive, because with Resident Evil 7, I think they really wanted to emphasize the survival aspect of it, because Ethan was like, I mean, he's just this dude. He's not a trained professional or anything like that. He's just this dude who just happened, he was looking for his wife, got caught up in that mess and did his best to survive, and things got crazy between, the Baker family and stuff like that. But with Resident Evil Village, he already went through this nonsense once before. Now he's got this, I don't give a, attitude, and he just wants to, he got his baby stolen, and he's like, now he's just a father just trying to protect, his kid, basically. So he's just kind of in like ballistic mode of just like, give me back my baby. Yeah. Like, so one of those sort of, protagonist sort of stories. So, yeah, I don't know. I do feel like this one feels and seems like a vast improvement in terms of level design and intuitiveness. And they've done this in a very, very smart way, it seems like. Now, again, this is just a demo from what I've taken.
Yeah.
From the demo,
Right.
We'll see how the full game is when it comes out. There's gonna be a lot more than just the little snippet of the castle and the little snippet of the village that I saw in the demo, But because apparently this is like the biggest map Resident Evil's ever had, and because apparently, what do they say? It's like bigger than like. It's like 3 times the size of 7, basically. I think something like that. So,
Yeah, I'd read somewhere something like that.
so the map is huge. There's going to be a lot to see, and considering I ran through the demo, again, I sped run it on purpose just to see how fast I could do because I already knew what to expect, and I was just kind of playing it for calibration purposes on the PC. But I mean, I got through each one in maybe like five minutes, versus like my first playthrough, it took me about, I think, Village and Castle took around 20 minutes each time. But
I mean, the other demo gives you like an hour, so I'm playing time to poke around.
yeah, this one's gonna give you an hour now. Yeah, so yeah, so yeah, you'll have time to kind of look around. But I think even so, everything just kind of made sense. Everything was very smartly designed. So but yeah, I don't know. I feel like the answer is yes now. However, there are a lot of similar elements, but there's a lot that they just cleaned up and just polished compared to Resident Evil 7. Like it's like playing the little snippet of this demo that I did, it made me realize like how many quality of life things they didn't have in 7 now that they have now in 8, where it's just like, oh my god, you're right. Like I didn't even notice like these small little things that help just things just feel a lot more fluid in general and just comfortable. It's a lot more ergonomic and intuitive. So, But yeah, I think it's safe to say, regardless of what platform you're playing on, you're going to have an incredible time. It's incredibly well optimized, and whether you're playing on Series X, PS5, or PC, or even the original system, systems. Again, I played it on PS4. I did not play it on PS5. I don't have a PS5 yet. I don't have a Series X yet either. So the closest I got to the next gen version was the PC, and I'm telling you right now, the PS4 version. Granted, I did play on the PS4 Pro, so I can't speak for the base systems, but the PS4 Pro looked beautiful. I was like, oh my god. So I think any sacrifices they made, I didn't see any. I'm sure they're there.
That's good.
But
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Everybody can enjoy it in multiple ways.
for sure, 100%, 100%.
Who knows? Maybe it'll even come to Switch. I mean, sure. Awesome.
Well,
awesome.
Resident Evil 7 is there via cloud. I don't think
Yeah,
this
I
is.
was gonna say it'll be the
Yeah.
cloud version is what it'll be.
It's well optimized, but I don't think it's optimized enough.
Not that well.
So maybe Switch Pro. But I don't think they would do that still, though, because Nintendo, like, even when the Switch Lite came out, they were very adamant about, like, look, any game that comes out, you better make sure that thing runs on Switch Lite and regular Switch.
Right.
So, no, Switch Lite only type nonsense. So, but unless it's like some weird thing like Ring Fit Adventure, you're not going to play that on your, Switch Lite, obviously. But I mean, I guess you could, but looking on that tiny little screen,
Yeah.
jogging, like I just feel like that wouldn't work out. So.
You'd have to get some sort of a rig to have it like
Oh, yeah.
in front of your face.
Yeah.
Hold it in place. So
Get
maybe
your Labo, your VR Labo thing.
Yeah, get one of those.
Yeah.
It still wouldn't work because some of the exercises would just like fly off.
Well,
anyway.
yeah, I mean that's true. But still,
why'd your Switch break? Well,
it's fun.
Or because you're jogging in place, it'd be like bouncing in front of your eyes. It's like I can't see what
it
it's
fell
Yeah.
on the treadmill and I stepped.
But yeah, I'm super stoked. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love Resident Evil. I'm so excited for
Yeah.
Resident Evil Village. So I'll be there for one. I am excited. That's all I'm gonna play. And yeah, I'm gonna try to beat as not necessarily as quick as possible, but that's all I'm gonna play. So chances are I will beat it fast because that's literally all I'm gonna do for hours and hours. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, in addition to that, I have been playing, going back to the Switch, speaking of the Switch, have been playing a little game called Blue Fire. Now, if you're not familiar with Blue Fire, just imagine literally Zelda meets Hollow Knight. Bam, there's your Blue Fire. And the combat is very much like Zelda, but the platforming elements are very much like Hollow Knight. And that game can get very difficult. My God, like some people hit like tanks, like very much like a Souls type, game where it's like, what, one swing, and depending on how you're spec'd, I mean, my God, I mean, you could literally be taken out. So, but from what I've played so far, at first I wasn't digging it just because it was frustrating me, but now that I've like eased into it and given it a chance, like it's hard for me to put down. Like that game is great. Now it's not without its faults. It could use a little bit of polishing. The platforming upsets me tremendously just because like a big thing of platforming with any game, I think, is you got to get those physics right. If the physics aren't right, the platforming is going to be terrible. If it feels too floaty, it's going to be terrible. If it feels almost too sharp, it's going to be terrible. If it feels heavy, it's going to feel terrible. So you got to find that nice balance of everything, and then if you have a double jump or not. Like if you have a double jump, that changes everything. If you don't have a double jump, okay, then you have to think about things a little bit differently. Now, a big thing that I don't think a lot of people will take into account when it comes to platformers, for me anyways, is shadows. Now, a lot of the time, I can usually dictate where I'm going to land depending on the little circular shadow or silhouette of my character, below me.
Mhm.
Now, Blue Fire, for some reason, maybe it's just because it's on the Switch, maybe this isn't a problem on other platforms, but the shading is almost non-existent a lot of the time. And so it's really hard for some of those levels because you go into these things called voids, right? Now, otherwise, like the actual dungeon crawling part of it is pretty much just like Zelda, but occasionally you'll run into these statues that have these little like cubes in front of them, and if you interact with the cube, it'll teleport you to like a platforming level, and it'll look like one of your typical, I don't know if you guys remember like there's a couple levels in Sunshine where there's just like literally just floating blocks, and you just got to jump from floating block to
Yeah.
floating block to get
Yeah.
to the shrine right at the end. Just that, every single one of those is just that. So if you fall, that's it. And there's no checkpoints. So if you fall, you're going right back to the beginning. Some of those levels are very long. So you better make sure if you want to get to the end that you got to platform perfectly from time to time. And again, when I'm not able to see my shadow sometimes, the distance and my ability to gauge where I'm landing is very difficult to perceive sometimes. And sometimes when I think I'm going to land, I don't. Sometimes
Yeah.
when I don't think I'm going to land, I do. And some of the hitboxes and stuff like that, the hitboxes, forget it. The hitboxes, like sometimes when you're facing people, like there's no way this thing should have hit you, and it's not one of those things where it's like you get frustrated and you're just like, no, that shouldn't have hit me. But then like if you were to replay it, like it's like, okay, that hit, but it's definitely one of those situations where it's just like, no, there's no way scientifically, you know, like that could have hit me. There's no way. I will get every scientist on this earth to replay that footage and study it. I will write a dissertation if I have to. There is no way. There's no way this thing could have hit me. But Blue Fire likes to just go ahead and be like, no, you got hit, dude.
Yeah.
You got hit. And also, there's no invincibility frame. So once you get hit, if you're stuck in a corner, especially, just reset. Just reset, because there's no iframes. There's no way to, dodge or anything like that. Like once you're in it, you're in it. So that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall though, I mean, other than a couple of quirks and some frustrations and a lack of polish in some areas, I'm having an awesome time with it, and a much better time than I thought I was going to. I was a little worried at first because again, when I first started it didn't click with me right away, even though I love the aesthetic of it. But as I eased into it, gave it a chance. You have to be patient with this game, but I promise you, after like an hour, um, once it settles, you're like, okay, all right, now this is I can get into this. You know, so and then honestly, the challenge, it's still challenging, but it becomes a lot more bearable because, of course, all the stuff that you unlock later on and um, uh, stuff like that. But now, and here's the thing about those voids that I was mentioning, actually, because all the crazy platforming that you have to do is that's the only way, as far as I've been able to tell, I think so far, to get more hearts. So like you would in Zelda, every time you beat a boss, you usually get the heart container to get more life.
Yeah.
You have to do those voids. So if platforming is just not your thing in games, I'm sorry, because that's the only way to increase your health. So you better be
Ooh.
very
Right.
otherwise, because otherwise, if because you don't have to do them, they're not mandatory. The voids are just there. But if you want to increase your health, you're gonna have to do them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it gets crazy. And some of the things that are designed and the checkpoints are absolutely miserable. Like, and how you save the game, you can only
Too
save
far
the game
between them, you think? Like too much?
way too far. Way too far. Well, no. Well, here's the thing: they're inconsistent, right? Some are like really close to each other, and some are just very far. Where it's just like, dude, I would have put one right there. Like in this particular challenging portion, like I would have put one right there.
Yeah.
But so you can go literally. I've gone through like an entire level one time without. You typically save at these. What do they call them? Like fire shrines, I think is what they call them. And now it's weird because you can save manually, right? So you can just go to your settings, you can save at any point. Now, if you restart the game, and I learned this the hard way because I actually made it pretty far, once you boot the game back up and hit continue, even though you saved, now you're still going to keep everything. So let's just say you found like another weapon or something like that later down the line, and you manually saved whatever. You will always wake up or start the game or continue or load at one of those fire shrines. So, I mean, I went an hour without seeing a fire shrine. I was like, you got to be kidding me, to spawn back, and I almost quit. I almost uninstalled it right there. But yeah, no, they're you need to have patience playing that game. But I promise you, the game is great. It's just it does take patience, though.
Yeah.
That's but it is a very good game. Credit where credit's due. So, but those checkpoints are miserable, like absolutely miserable. So, and for a game that's not like a roguelite or anything like that, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It's ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, tax season. We all did our taxes, right?
Nope, haven't done it
so-
yet. There's taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes aren't due for
I don't
another
know,
2 or 3
man.
weeks, so I've got time. So.
Okay, well, Well, it's tax season, anyways. But now, as any good civilian would do, you're gonna go ahead and pay your dues to Uncle Sam. You know who won't though? Turnip Boy. Now, Turnip Boy, he committed tax evasion, and that's the name of this game is Turnip Boy commits tax evasion, and it just from that title alone, yes, it's every bit as ridiculous as you would expect. Now, when you look at it, the pixel art and everything is super cute. Like and the game exudes so much charm, and when you play it, the game is hilarious. Now, the only unfortunate part about that game is like I think I literally beat it in just under 2 hours, maybe about an hour 45 minutes. But it was hard for me to put down. I beat it in one sitting. Like it was hard for me to put down. It's a really cute game. You play as this turnip, and you're in this world of vegetables and the mayor is like, look, you haven't paid your taxes in a while, man, so
it just doesn't work out.
yeah, it doesn't work out. So like the mayor's like, look, all right, look, just do some things for me and I'll get you off easy. So you're like, okay. So you run these a couple of tasks, there are these chores and whatnot for the mayor, and you meet people along the way, and you go through a couple of these quote unquote dungeons, and it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and but it's a quick game. It's super easy to pick up. It's super accessible too, which is really nice. Now they want the game to be played by as many people as possible. So in the options, you can actually just enable God mode. So if you're not good at video games or something like that, you can just enable God mode. Literally every time you get hit, nothing will happen. Like, you'll survive always. You can increase your strength as well if you want to just do, instead of normal damage, you want to do double the amount of damage you normally do, or 3 times the amount of damage, or 4 times, so on and so forth. If the game gets too hard, and there are some difficult sections, like some of those bosses, my lord. But it's a cute little game, super easy to pick up. I mean, you literally just have like a couple of items, and then you just you use a button to dodge, you use another button to attack, and that's basically it. I mean, really, and then of course your controls to move. Really, that's it. And the control scheme is fairly straightforward, and but the pixel art is incredible. The dialogue is hilarious, and it was super enjoyable. I was surprised I actually beat it in one sitting. I don't usually do that often anymore. So, but that game was very hard to put down, and very much worth the time I put in it. Like, I was very happy by the end. Unfortunately, not much replay value. Once you're done, you're pretty much done. There's collectibles, but there you can literally get them all in one playthrough also. So like literally, if you do all the side quests, congrats, you've gotten all the collectibles. You don't have to do the side quests, but there are a few. And but yeah, no, it was great, and by the end, it was just hilarious, and it just kept getting crazier and crazier and more absurd, and but it was super cute. Like, Turnip Boy was like the character itself was like adorable, and everybody that you meet is charming in some sort of way. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I played that on PC. The Switch version, I've noticed, unfortunately, for some reason, the B button is confirm and the A button is back. So they switched what it would normally be for any normal game, and there's no way to remap the control switch, and it's made a lot of people miserable. A lot of people.
Those people who only play on Nintendo.
Yeah, more than likely. But
because if you're not looking at the labels, that's a default for me, just from long playing with like Xbox or even just like PlayStation. Nintendo is normally backwards, so if you flip it to forward, if I haven't been playing Nintendo recently, I probably would never notice.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's no way to remap it. But even on PC, for some reason, even though they give you the option to change the key layout, because you use like Z to dodge, X to attack, and then like C to confirm or something like that. It's really weird. But I just wanted to switch it to like Q and E and F, basically, just for like the things that I was doing. And even though it said it would, it didn't. It kept defaulting back to the regular one, and I was like, whatever. So I just dealt with the ZXC the entire time. So yeah, I don't know what the issue is with that, but apparently like they're gonna patch the Switch issue apparently. So that's cool. So I've been playing that, and then lastly, well, I beat Turnip Boy, so but yeah, and then lastly, what I have been playing currently, what I was playing, basically been playing since yesterday, good old new Pokemon Snap. 20 years, 20 years after the original came out, we got a new Pokemon Snap. So,
I wonder if
and
the only reason that they actually did new Pokemon Snap is because of the whole snapping thing in the Nintendo marketing for the Switch. They're like, oh yeah, Pokemon Snap, let's do that.
Yeah.
surprised. I mean, I'm kind of glad that they waited for the Switch, but obviously, a lot of people. I remember when the Wii U was out, everyone was just like, "Dude, Pokemon Snap would have been perfect for this because you got the gamepad, right? You're just moving around, taking
Yep.
stuff like that, and you kind of got a concept of that with how Fatal Frame worked, the Shrine Maiden on
Right.
because you run that, but and that was cool. That was a really clever use of the gamepad, even if it was a little janky, but yeah, it's really cool having it on the Switch. The game is beautiful. Like graphically, it's basically what I expected and wanted Sword and Shield to be. Unfortunately, Sword and Shield ended up being just like a HD Sun and Moon, which was unfortunate. Um, but yeah, I bet this isn't also. It's also not Game Freak. I mean, the team that did New Pokemon Snap is also the same team that did Pokken Tournament. So it's a team over at Bandai Namco.
Okay.
That did it. So, and it's why I've been saying lately that I think the Pokemon Company really should just start licensing out Pokemon games because at this point I think Game Freak is just
Of money.
they're either bored or they've lost inspiration or they're burnt out or something. But they
All of those. It has to be all
Yeah.
of those because they
Burnt
just keep
out,
remaking the same thing over and over
Yeah,
and
I
over
did
again
10
and
added
doing
20 more
two versions
Pokemon.
of it at once for this amount of time. Like, even if certain, some people leave and new people come in, it's just like, oh, another one of these. It has to be the feeling for at least some of the people.
Yeah, I would think.
and this is coming
Yeah,
from
I would-
someone who's a massive Pokemon fan. Pokemon's in my DNA. I've been playing it since I was 7. I've been there since day one. The moment it came to America, I don't miss anything Pokemon. If it's Pokemon, even if I know I'm not gonna like it, I get it anyways. It's Pokemon, so I have to see what it is. So just like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I hate those games, but I play them anyways. But
But I still played them. Oh, I mean, wait, yeah, but there's also there's the Pokemon racing game too on DS and all the other really
Dash,
yeah,
yeah, Pokemon
Dash. There's another little puzzle game.
Pokemon. There was Pokemon Pinball. There's Pokemon. They need to bring back Pokemon Conquest. That was the strategy RPG version of Pokemon, which was like,
Yeah.
is Fire Emblem a Pokemon skin? Absolutely.
All I know
give it
is
to me.
Snap, Puzzle League, and the regular Pokemon game. I haven't played anything.
Yeah,
I haven't played X.
And it's crazy to me how literally I've had more fun. This has been pretty prevalent the last couple of years, but I've had more fun, and I think there's more creativity in all the spin-offs as of late, more so than the mainline games. Like between Detective Pikachu, Pokemon Trozy, now new Pokemon.
Yeah, Trozy. That was the other one. It's a little spin-off one, right?
Yep, and then Pokemon Cafe, which a Cafe Mix, which I loved. Even though I reached a point where there's clearly a paywall. Like once you start to reach level 50, 60, at that point, unless you're paying,
Give us your money, Dennis. You're like, I'm out.
Yeah, I just went ahead and did my own virtual credits. I was just like, all right, I beat the game. There you go. So at that point, I was like, no, I'm good. But I enjoy and love all of those games. And then for some, which is weird because obviously the mainline games, those are those big grandiose RPG experiences, and then they lack magic anymore. They don't have that magic anymore. They're gone. That magic, that feeling X and Y was the last one that had that.
The problem with the Pokemon main games is they're not this big grand RPG experience. They think they are, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're way too simple for that.
I think if you want that now, your best bet is literally just to get the Digimon games, because Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory is literally everything that I've wanted in Pokemon the last couple of years for mainline Pokemon, anyways. And interestingly enough, same thing with Shin Megami Tensei, because it kind of you're just catching demons and shit like that. So Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, when that comes out, oh my lord.
Or you could play Persona. That's basically Pokemon for a lot of it. It's not called that's a big giant RPG experience.
Yeah.
And then
so Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, which is just a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, but I think and I think that's why I kind of gravitate more towards those now. It's just that's where I'm at now. That's what I want. I still want and love. I want that Pokemon experience, and I love that Pokemon experience, but you can't tell me this is a game that couldn't have released on GameCube. You know, I feel like Pokemon XD. I got more out of Pokemon XD than I probably did Sword and Shield, to be quite honest with you.
Yep.
So, but anyways, but before I go on a big Pokemon rant, anyways, yeah, new Pokemon Snap is awesome. You know, it's got a lot of replayability, which is great, and it's a beautiful game. You know, great to relax with, and you know, for those people who were a little worried, $60 might be a little much for something like this. I promise you, once you start playing, you'll forget about how much it costs. It's a great time. It's one of those games where, yes, it's simple, it's to the point, and whatever views you have on it on how you expect the game is going to play, chances are that's what you're going to get. However, the feeling that you get playing it is something that I don't want to say it's indescribable, but that's where you get your money's worth, because it feels great to play. It's fun. It's beautiful to look through those environments and just catch those Pokemon in those, you know, in their natural habitat. Just kind of taking photos of them and just kind of being this like safari guy, just taking pictures. It's awesome. It's super enjoyable.
Or if you go to Walmart and buy it, you can only pay $49 for it. That's how much it is at Walmart.
That's right. So if you want a quick little discount, that's the way to do it. Or if you have gold coins as well, use gold coins in the eShop.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Now that they've done this, can we do a silly spin-off called Pokemon Paparazzi? And just like figure out some goofy version of that, because I just want that to be a title of a game.
Now the question is though, are you taking pictures of Pokemon, or is the Pokemon the paparazzi taking the pictures of people?
Both. Why limit it? You have like, it's like Detective Pikachu. He is a Pokemon and he's doing things, but there's also other Pokemon.
He works for the Sun. He has a camera. He's taking
a picture of other Nintendo characters in compromising positions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have to get the sauciest photos so that you can sell your crappy Poke magazine.
The first Pokemon game rated T for T.
Yeah,
because they won't go to M.
There we go. That would
but
be
what if they did?
Yeah, no.
No.
That would be insane.
Going down a path I don't want to think about.
That's kind of like the Mario GTA kind of fake games that people make. Just like take things that are super cartoony and just make it not that.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. So, but yeah, I saw Pokemon Snap yesterday. I was like, I don't know if I want to buy that game or not, but I'm glad to hear it's pretty cool. So I'll buy it at some point.
I promise you'll have a good time with it. I promise. Like it's super enjoyable, and honestly, if you're not playing anything else at the moment, nothing like too big. Anyways, it's a simple game. You just jump in. Don't have to think much about it. Relaxing. Even if you want to binge on it. Even if you want to just play it for, you know, one or two, you know, kind of tours, expeditions at a time, that's fine too. Like you'll feel like it's a good time. It's a good time.
That's funny. Never would have thought that would have been a thing again. That's so funny.
I know. Did you see they're coming out next month with like a little like a printer?
It's a printer, yeah. They've been up for pre-order and they sell out every time they're on Amazon. They're like $110 or something like that. I thought they were
between 100 and 120. I don't know, but like it's crazy though. But it's cool because you get to print out your own like Polaroids and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have to look it up. It's
like the modern day Game Boy printer, basically.
Yeah, it's like it's like a little portable Polaroid thing. But yeah, they keep selling out as soon as they go up on Amazon. It's crazy. So.
But yep, that's everything I've been playing.
All right, cool. Eric.
Oh boy, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Okay, I'll go through the interesting stuff quickly. All right, just been playing. Well, it's been months I've been on my show, so it's been a little bit. I've been playing a lot of Cold War. Buddies 3 came out. Play a lot of zombies. I don't know why we play. It just seems to be fun, and you know, the 2 of us on PC and the other 2 on PS3, and very interesting crossplay. Playing some Valheim some more. Third boss. The third boss is very tough. It required me to have my brother help. The fourth one's supposed to be. Gotta say, play the game. Definitely check out some of the mods. I think Nathaniel and I talked about this a little. There's some pretty cool mods that they don't break the game, but they definitely help you, because being unable to move or through the portals makes me very angry. There's a mod that fixes it.
Oh yeah. There's mods where like they've added like a Cadillac into it. I think there's all sorts of weird mods for that game at this point. Yeah.
There's like one that has like this crazy weather system too. And there's just like all sorts of weird stuff. It's fun. I'm glad people are. And with that game, I always struggle with the building stuff because my buildings just look like garbage. My brother comes in, he's like, just do it this way.
Yeah, I'm
It's
kind of at a point with that game where I'll probably play it again once they do a couple of major
For a while.
updates to it.
Yeah, we ran to like one of the new, randomly walked in one of the new new areas. There's just nothing in it. I forget what it's called. Mist something. Just empty trees and nothing in it. No monsters or anything. Okay, so we got a couple things for review for Switch. So I played a little bit of Neo Geo Pocket Collection Volume 1. That's pretty cool. I mean, if you're a Neo Geo Pocket fan, and you haven't bought any of the games on Switch, this is definitely a way to get it because it has all the games that were on the eShop, plus a few more. I don't know. Neo Geo Pocket's an interesting. Playing the compilation on Switch, you can zoom in, which is really nice. You can kind of tinker with you can make it be colored, or you can make it be like the weird like monochrome sort of thing. I mean, the games play fine. Metal Slug has the same performance issues as it did like, back in the day. Why is this game? Why is the frame rate like garbage? And I was reading that was a thing back in the day, that there were some programming issues, and so it's replicated on the Switch. Those frame rate issues where it gets really busy. So that's kind of interesting. But the fighting games are pretty good. Capcom vs SNK is good, and they have like a SNK like Gal Fighter or something. It's been a while since I played a lot of it, but it was fun. All the games are pretty good. They're pretty simple. Yeah, the golf game is really good. That was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I used to have that on the Pocket Color.
I couldn't stop playing that for like an hour. I was just like, hitting golf balls and really enjoying it. So
yeah, I like that golf game on the Neo Geo Pocket back in the day. I played it all the time.
yeah, there's another one. There was another like top-down game, Blaster something. I forget what it was called. It was in the review. Yeah, anyway, it's a good collection. I've also been playing Save Me Mr. Taco. It's a Game Boy themed game on Switch. Play as an octopus. You get to wear a bunch of cool hats. Platforming. The controls are okay. Has a bit of a floaty touch to it.
Yeah.
Only other things I've been playing is like Night Squad 2 on Xbox Series S. It's been pretty fun. But other than that, like, not too much has been going on. Next time we have a show, yard sale pickups. Not too much I've been playing. Just, trucking along.
Cool. Well, we'll move through the news real quick. I mean, there's not really a ton to talk about. There was the State of Play the other day, which I still haven't watched yet. I guess there was, 15 minutes of Ratchet and Clank new footage?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't need to watch Ratchet and Clank to be sold on Ratchet and Clank,
Yeah,
so I
I've
didn't
already
really
been
watch the State of Play.
The
And
footage
then I looked
awesome.
at the recap, and there's like 2 other things in there other than Ratchet. It was mostly Ratchet, so I was like, all right.
Yeah. I need to go back and watch it. Yeah, I've already been sold on Ratchet and Clank. All they had to do was say Ratchet and Clank. That's all I needed.
Yeah. Well, for going through the portals is so cool, like how seamless it is, and like the no loading and stuff like that. It's the coolest thing. And then they were talking about how the DualSense is like used and stuff like that, and like the
Yeah.
haptic feedback and stuff like that. Sounds like
I mean, there's so much opportunity there because, Ratchet and Clank always has the tons of different just weird weapons and things. Just doing different stuff with the haptic feedback with those would be really cool.
Yeah, should be. PlayStation 5 has sold 7.8 million consoles. That's crazy as hard as it is to find. I mean, it's outpacing the PlayStation 4. And the PlayStation 4 was easier to get a hold of after the first, 2 or 3 months? Here we are.
The first 3 months.
Yeah, here we are 6 months into it, and you still can't get a console, but they're still selling. They still sold so many of them. That's crazy. I was surprised to see that large of a number of consoles sold. Of course, then Xbox put out their third quarter, sales too, and they said that, that console sales were up like 232% from this time last year. But of course, they don't report numbers of consoles sold, so of course they're going to be up. It's a new console. You expect a console to or sales to be up. I think this
It's
article-
crazy. It's almost like both Sony and Microsoft are just doing well. It's
yeah,
weird.
it's so weird. It's hard to believe that they're both.
Oh
doing well.
wait, they've been like that for years.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I know subscriptions to Game Pass. What's that, Dennis?
And I mean, considering they still sell out, like
Yeah.
I mean, the moment they go up, the moment you hit add to cart, it's if that button's even available for you,
Right.
it's already gone.
Well,
So-
it's like I told you guys in the Twitter chat to give you an idea of how quick these things are getting made and sold. My PlayStation was made in March and I received it in April. It was like, or no, it was made in February and I bought it in March. So, I mean, literally, it takes 30 days to get usually from China to Long Beach and then however long it is. So you're talking 30 days, 35, 40 days, and boom, it's from China into my home.
Wow.
That's pretty freaking quick. Same was with the Xbox Series X. It was made in October. I bought it in November. It was like,
Yeah.
it's just.
I mean,
bam,
you'll
bam,
see
bam.
that with a lot of electronics of like they'll send a wave, and if it's something that's selling out, then yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
For sure.
Too, the GPUs are still like,
Mhm. And they're going to be. They're going to be till next year.
Well, a lot of technology is going to be that because of all the chip shortages everywhere. It's
Mhm.
impacting all sorts of anything that has like an LCD screen in it, anything that has like a controller chips, all sorts of stuff is not even just like game consoles
No.
or graphics cards or computers. Like sometimes there's like cars because they have
I was gonna
all
say-
the funky computers in there. They're getting all
I read
hard to
an-
make. Like
I read an article that I think it was Chrysler are building Dodge trucks, and they're building them off the assembly line, putting them together, parking them in a lot, and then once the chips comes in, they'll put the computer in it, and they can actually sell them. They have
Oh.
all these vehicles, made and ready to go. They just
They're
need.
they're just sitting there on the lot,
They're
just
just-
waiting.
They're sitting there on the assembly lots waiting for chips to come in so they can put them in the computers and put them into the trucks. They're all ready to go, just waiting on chips. It's crazy. And then I read other things like it's not only just the chip shortage, but China is holding back shipping out chips because of tariffs. Then there's the silicone shortage on top of it, and then when that happened, China started hoarding all the. There's a whole lot of different factors that are going into it. But it's like, holy crap! I was like, there's just parking lots in Detroit full of brand new vehicles just waiting on computer chips to come, so they can just drop a computer in it, put it on a truck, and ship it out. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And for Sony to have 7.8 million consoles in circulation, it's like, what is going on? It's wild. For all of us who have Vitas and PlayStation 3s, the stores are still going to be up. You're be able to download it. Everything's fine. Sony brought it back. Shockingly, they brought it back. I was not expecting them to retract that. I figured, that was it. So.
I mean, there's going to be a big backlash. It's just whether Sony paid attention or not is the question. Apparently, they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
What'd you say, Dennis?
Lots of angry people.
Yep.
It's just like Jim Ryan comes out again, and this guy, I can never like trust anything this guy says. But then he's just like, yeah, we underestimated. People wanted to preserve the history of PlayStation. He's like, what do you mean underestimated? That's literally what people are talking about time and time again. This backwards compatibility. What are you talking? But this guy's just like, out with the old and with the new, and it's just.
And the other thing is, if you play Astro's Playroom, I mean, that is a homage to everything PlayStation for the past 25 years, and then that game comes out and 3 months later, hey, by the way, we're closing down the store on these things. And I understand that doesn't last forever.
If you haven't watched it yet, NoClip put out a documentary on Astro's Playroom,
did they? Okay,
something like that. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. I like their stuff. So and last but not least, Sony is beta testing the PlayStation Plus Video Pass.
Big yawn, boo.
What is this? Oh, we need something. Hey, we need something to combat Game Pass. What do we got? We got movies.
We got movies and free stuff.
Let's do that. That'll work. That'll be perfect. It's like
It's not like I need yet another streaming service anyways. Like even if it's like, okay, cool, there's some movies that can go on there, but like I've got,
Right.
like I've got Netflix, I've got HBO or Amazon or Hulu or whatever else that like everybody's got probably at least one, that is gonna have a game console, probably has a streaming service too.
Or if you're like
They're
us,
not gonna need this.
if you're like us, we have Hulu, we have Netflix, we have HBO, we have Paramount Plus, we have we have at least 5. Disney Plus 6. We have 6. We have.
Let's see. I've got Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO is the ones I've got right now.
Yeah. Well, we've got Hulu, HBO, Paramount, Disney Plus, Netflix. Amazon Prime, if you want to count that. I mean, we pay for 6, so it's not like I don't have a plethora of stuff to watch anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, now if they're going to throw this into my PlayStation Plus subscription, well, fine, I guess. But
I'll never use it.
I'll never use. No, I don't. Yeah. I didn't even download video apps on the PlayStation 5 because I didn't want it to take up any more space on my hard drive. I just didn't. It's like nope.
So here's an interesting thing. Apparently, I read this actually just before the show, where apparently the whole PlayStation Plus Video Pass nonsense thing. Apparently, Microsoft kind of answered to that discreetly by now having Game Pass Ultimate members get a huge discount on movies within. Well, yeah, just a huge discount on movies, and there's like like if you go to the Xbox store now, again, it's not like they came out in public and said this, but there's literally a photo I'm looking at right now from the Xbox store that says movies are better with Game Pass, and then it has just a bunch of deals and stuff like that. So now Game Pass.
They've done that for a while, and also if you're an Xbox Live Ultimate member, you check your perks. They've been giving away like full seasons of like Dragon Ball Z and
it's pretty crazy.
Other things. It's like, this is okay. And do I redeem it? Sure. Will I ever watch it? No, probably not. But it'll be on my account. So if I ever get a hankering to watch Dragon Ball Z again from that I watched 1,800 years ago, sure, I'll fire it up. But
it'll be just as cheesy as you remember.
Oh, I'm sure. I know it will be. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems weird. It just seems so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep hearing, I keep reading rumors that hey, they've got an answer to, Game Pass. So,
right. I'm sure they do have an answer, but is it a good one?
Yeah,
who knows?
That's my question. Is it a good one? That's and it's like PlayStation Now. I was, it's like, well, they're starting to get some cool games. But, it's like they got like Avengers, but I was like, it's not the PlayStation 5 version. No thanks. I got a PlayStation 5. I'm not going to play the PlayStation 4 version when I've got the Series X version. So, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, sometimes I just don't think they just get it. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, and it's fine. I mean, you've got. I think we're getting to a point where Nintendo does their own thing. Microsoft wants the services, so they're doing their own thing. And PlayStation's just going to be the traditional. We're going to bring out blockbuster games. We're going to sell a bazillion of them. We're going to sell a bazillion consoles, and that's fine. That's okay. I mean, I don't care. It's fine. I'm fine with that.
Especially if you're someone like me who's just has the PS5 for the Sony things on it, or has a Nintendo for the Nintendo things on it. If I had like a Game Pass equivalent on PlayStation, I probably wouldn't even use it.
Yeah. I mean, and essentially with the PlayStation Plus collection that they have on PlayStation 5, you can get most of their big blockbuster titles that they put out.
I mean, that's just silly because it's just like they did all like PlayStation Plus things instead of putting a couple in a month. It's just like, here, have a dozen things, because they did Days Gone was in that, but then they just did it as a PlayStation Plus title too.
Right.
So
yeah, that's weird. But,
sure.
Yeah.
The only difference, I guess, if you didn't have it on PS4, you could have gotten it on PlayStation Plus then, and when you couldn't have gotten it as part of the PS5 thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, still,
I get that. But still, it's like, whatever.
It's fine. Sure.
So, all right. Well, we're going to call that show because we've went like 2.5 hours. Tirade after rant after rant. But that's okay. I had to rant about the PlayStation 5. It deserved a rant. So
yeah, I've definitely not had as many issues as you have in your very short time.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. But I will say what I do like about. I mean, not only do I like the new controller because it is a little bigger, but I do like the ability to pull this plastic thing off and change the color to it. Like I bought these on Amazon for like $8, and all you do is you just take a plastic and just pop it right off and pop the new one on, and now my two controllers are, I've got a blue and I got a purple, so I can tell the difference in what they are. So which I don't
I've
know.
just got 2 default ones.
Yeah,
They look the same.
Yeah, but hey, it's all right. But and then I got stickers to put on them to make the buttons.
Basically, I have 2 for like when one eventually gets low. I just put it on the charger and pull the other one out.
Yeah,
It's kind of how
And it takes much longer on the PS5 than it did on the PS4. These controllers last a lot longer.
Yeah, they do seem to last a little bit longer than I.
As someone
I thought they
who,
were.
like, played all day, of all of Yakuza, like, especially last weekend, I just played a ton of that. It's just like, okay, it took most of the day for it to get down and low batteries. Like, all right, I'll switch it out.
Yeah. I was surprised. This one got a full charge before I left. It actually lasted me the whole week because just playing a couple hours in the evening.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure if you did something that had a lot more of the rumble stuff in it, that would, like anything, take it down quicker. But even then, I was playing a lot of Demon Souls, which had quite a bit of that in it.
And I turned down the brightness on it and everything. I set everything, the brightness to the minimalist. So
I haven't even done anything. Mine are still at default on my controllers, and they last quite a while. So
that's good.
they're definitely much better than the previous PlayStation.
Anything's better than 2
controllers.
hours. Anything's better than 2 hours.
Yes.
And even buying bigger batteries and then replacing them, taking the controller.
I mean, this is hands down the best controller Sony's ever made because it's got all the cool new stuff in it. It's just got the nicer shape and feel to it. It feels like a quality controller that's not just going to snap in half.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The battery life works for a long time. So
it's kind of reaching that peak of design because I really like the Series X controller a lot too. Like just the change in the D-pad really changed a lot. For me,
my favorite is still the Elite 2. Would I pay $160 for it? Probably not, but
sure.
I paid $100 for it, but I
default controllers that come in, not that special crazy stuff.
Yeah, I know, and that's where it's like I can't say, oh yeah, but I like that.
I can't pay for Sony to bring back the Boomerang PlayStation 3 controller. That's what
the Batarang. The Batarang. It was a Batarang.
That is pretty funny.
It looked like a Batarang.
I forgot about that thing.
I was like, what are you thinking? Oh my gosh.
Cowards.
They were thinking, oops, this was dumb. We're not going to ever let it get out to the field. We're just going to redo a regular controller.
Quick, make sure it doesn't exist. Okay, no problem.
DualShock 2, but make it wireless. Okay. Oh, we forgot the rumble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We forgot to put the rumble in there. What was we thinking? All right. Well, we're going to collect. So we're going to call that show. Hopefully, we won't have a big long break in between like we did the last time, but we'll see how work goes.
I mean, the good news is if there is a big break, then that just means that you're finally going to be done with the work then, and then after that would maybe be better. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get things back to normal in June. So me and Danny haven't been recording the retro podcast because of work, and it's like, no, I just don't have time to do 2 right now. So it's like, once I get done with that and get off the road a little bit, and I'm out of town on maybe a day instead of 5 days. It's like, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, but like I always say, follow us on Twitter @GL_podcast if you want to know, if we're going to have a show this week, or if we go live and you want to come hang out in the chat room with us and listen to us record it live or anything like that on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or wherever you choose to watch your videos at. So, all right. Well, and I know Dennis, you're not doing any live streaming yet.
Not really, no, but there might be some test stuff coming up. Okay. Might be doing just a really short, maybe like 30 minutes of like Anodyne 2, probably within the next couple of days, which I think we reviewed on the site. I forgot who reviewed it. Was it Eric? Did you review the Anodyne 2?
That doesn't sound like me.
Remember.
Is that a Ryan review?
Yeah, somebody reviewed Anodyne 2 the site, if I remember correctly. But yeah, cool little retro game, especially Anodyne 2, because it takes you through like if you're familiar with what was it, Ever Tale, something like that. That one kind of takes you through kind of like it starts off like 8-bit, then 16-bit, and then you're like you got this 3D 32-bit stuff, and then 64 and whatnot, and it's really cool. It's really cool. But yeah, I might do like a couple minutes of that. Just but yeah, other than that, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I know you said you'll be heading back to the East Coast, so I figured once you get back over here, you'll start streaming normally like you usually do. So. All right, guys. Well, once again, thanks a lot for hanging out and listening, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Take care.
See you guys later.
Thank you.